All right, guys. Thanks a lot for clicking the link here and tuning in. This is our inaugural YouTube video for the Very Good Dynasty Fantasy Football League. This is kind of a little surprise that I wanted to do to drive engagement in the league, and I take the opportunity to talk about some of the things that have happened throughout the year, and just make sure that that we kind of have a platform here that everybody can share their thoughts on, and get our league mates involved. So I'm Tom, and with me I have Brad, aka Laura, and Johan. If you guys want to say hi, and
So
Yeah. So
yeah,
just right out the gate, we got Brad with a nice Christmas tree in the
yeah,
background. Looks like a
beautiful.
nice home. Tom's got his office. I
That's
got a
right.
closet behind me.
You're
But
great,
hey,
dude.
but hey, the,
Oh, you
the
got
Bailey is
snacks,
within reach,
bro.
so we're good.
Bailey's and snacks. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Good for you. Yeah, I didn't come prepared with any beverages. I got my water bottle, and that's about it. Um,
same.
so basically, what this is going to be is we're going to do like a little year in review for the league and how 2022 went, and this is going to give us some practice because next year, every week, I want to try to get some people on here from our league and talk about what's going on, some of the trades, the matchups, and just keep the league active and give everybody an opportunity to chirp and voice their opinions about how great of a job I'm doing. Pure thank you for all those wonderful statements that you have about me. I
Mm,
appreciate that, and we'll draft from my yacht soon. Um, but yeah, and let's go ahead and get started. So first off, I just want to say thank you guys for fielding a competitive team all year, a competitive league all year. Everybody set their lineups. Everybody paid attention. They were making smart moves. It made my job as commissioner very, very easy to do, and I really appreciated that. There were some people who were tanking and trying to get that first, second overall pick. Johan, I know, right? Um,
Yeah, I would like
uh,
to slightly amend your statement there. I appreciate everyone trying to set a competitive lineup.
right.
Joe, go fuck yourself.
He
Like,
tried, dude.
so,
He tried. He did his best on my behalf. All right, and he even
yeah,
told me he was trying to jam me up. Um,
yeah,
he couldn't
did
do
such
it.
a good job. God.
Couldn't do it.
he does try. It just doesn't look like it.
Yeah, he tries. It just makes it look really bad. So, thank you for that. Thanks for owning Joe's pick. Way to go, me. But yeah, honestly, dude, it was awesome. I didn't have to worry about watching people's lineups and making sure everything was good. Everybody did their part, and I really appreciate that it was that we don't have to have like a bylaws and rules to enforce setting lineups. So, to say thank you to everybody for that. Um, so we all kind of finished different than we would have expected. Well, maybe you guys finished different than you expected. I finished exactly where I thought I would, except against Brad. I truly thought that Brad was going to be a 1 seed or 2 seed easily, and our matchups he was gonna kick everybody's butt, dude. His team is stacked. So why don't we talk about the expectations that you guys set for your teams this year, and how that ended up?
Yeah. Can I start?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So, I mean, right off the rip, thought my team was primed for a good year, but given the way how last year ended, most point, some like second or third highest points in the league, most points against, missed the playoffs. Sad story. I only knew my team was going to get better, right? I mean, like I I don't know how I am where I am, but anyways, I mean, quarterback situation solid. Got Joe Burrow, Lamar. I mean, you honestly can't ask for a
No.
better two quarterbacks in a dynasty league. So I feel like I'm gonna have a hard time just figuring out who to start. Right, that should be the situation. Then running back Christian McCaffrey. Honestly, like I mean, injury prone, but injured my this last year, but this year, like hoping that he was going to be decent. Ramondre Stevenson, I was expecting him to, be just split time and kind of be whatever.
Hmm.
So running back was kind of questionable because my other running backs were like Chase Edmonds, who I thought was going to be good this year because he was traded to the Dolphins. So I'm like, oh, maybe he'll be the guy, right,
Yeah.
going into the year. So I'm like,
A lot of people
is
thought that.
this yeah, so I mean, like looking at entering the season, I'm like, am I in a good spot from a running back position? Maybe I got Alexander Madison as a handcuff if Cook ever goes down. So I'm like, he's an immediate RB1 if Cook goes down. So I'm like, maybe I can squeeze by. And wide receivers, I mean, T Higgins, I mean, there's no one doubting that he's an elite wide receiver. I mean, sure, he's second fiddle to Jamar Chase, but like on that offense with Joe Burrow, I thought that he was going to be good.
Hmm.
Cortland Sutton was supposed to be good with Russell
With
Wilson,
Russ,
right?
yeah,
In theory, right? That was supposed to be a big deal. Justin Jefferson obviously is like the cornerstone of my
Stud.
team. Like
Yeah.
no one was doubting his abilities. And then I just had guys like Calvin Ridley, who I traded for and got suspended the day after I traded for him. So then he's been sitting on my bench for a year and a half, and I had never actually played him yet. But he's supporting. And then Jacoby Myers, people like that I'm just kind of like trying to fill in the spot.
Yeah.
And then from tight end wise, I mean, I didn't really have a good tight end, but I mean,
Dalton
the
Schultz
league
isn't bad.
there's only he's not bad, but the thing is like there's only like 2 elite tight ends, and it just falls off from there. So it's like
Right.
I didn't really expect much, but I thought my team was gonna be good,
Yeah.
and I expected to make the playoffs.
I think we
at
all
the very
thought
least.
that. I think we all
So-
thought that, dude. I think we all thought that. Looking at your team, it was stacked. There was no way you weren't making it.
Yeah, I mean, and then I also knew Rashad White. Like, so Rashad White's just now becoming a guy, but I'm like,
Yeah.
he's behind Leonard Fournette. I'm like, I drafted him in the second round of the rookie draft. I'm like, Leonard Fournette's going to pull a hammy, and then it's going to be Rashad White. And so that's happening now. And so I expect that to bode well for me in the future, but I guess we'll certainly find out. So,
Yeah.
but
So-
expected to do well, completely fell in my face.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
one of the things that happened was you ended up kind of selling the farm for the tight end competition and getting Travis Kelce. Right. You gave up a
Yeah.
lot to get him, thinking that you were going to make that push because one of the trades that I made was to get Mark Andrews. And
Mhm.
with our teams being pretty stacked, you had to get that competitive edge. So you sold out quite a bit for Kelce. And then after you made that trade, you didn't get a single win until this past week. From that
Also
moment, dude, it was done.
And I forgot, I have to back up. I mean, I had Najee Harris on my team. That's
Yeah,
a big part,
yeah,
right? Like, so like
yeah.
I forgot, like running back wise, like you would think, like if you're looking at my team, you're like Christian McCaffrey, Najee Harris, like
Studs.
you should be fine, and then you fill in your bye weeks, right? Like those guys are just like workhorse running backs, right?
Ramondre
But I
comes
hated-
up. Yeah.
Yeah, I hated Najee. Like I hated him before he was bad. I hated it before it was cool. I hated him. I'm like, this guy just runs like he's in quicksand. I'm like, dude, I want to get rid of him.
Yep.
And so that's why I ended up trading him, and which was obviously a big point.
We'll
a big
get
trade.
to that
So-
trade soon.
But yeah,
We'll
just in
let
terms
Johan
of
go,
team
yeah.
expectations, I'm like, there's no way. There's no way this team doesn't do good.
For sure.
All right.
Oh,
I'm just going to throw out there, Brad. You actually did have a good team. You scored 250 more points than me this year.
yes.
We have the same record. Whatever a horseshoe
Yeah.
up the ass is, you have the opposite. Like I don't know
Yes.
what that is.
The
Yeah.
horseshoe's
You
up
have a
my
broken
ass,
mirror
dude.
up- yeah. Brad's got a broken mirror up his ass.
Yep.
Like there is no way that
Honestly,
that's
dude.
happening.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, it's the points against, man, and just being unlucky is what it boils down to. I mean, you could look at each week and just identify anything.
Right. So I just got that notification that Zoom is going to end our meeting in 9 minutes. So if it does, we'll just reconnect. I'll pause the
Okay.
recording. We'll just reconnect, and
Yeah.
I'll send another link out or whatever. Apparently, we have to pay money for this, so whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
Never
No,
pay money.
we don't do that. No.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead, Johan. Tell us about your experience.
Mine's kind of the exact opposite of Brad's. I was expecting to go as close to like 0-14 as humanly possible.
Yeah.
Sell the farm for all the picks. Brees Hall would be great.
Yeah.
I thought the Jets were going to suck and that he was going to be like terrible this year and then he'll be great next year. And then next thing I know, Brees Hall is immediately a stud. And I have a trade we'll get into later that significantly stacked my deck at wide receivers this year.
Mm-hmm.
And then like we're 2 games in and I'm like 1-1 and I'm like, do I have to try to win this year? Like shit. Like I was trying to go back-to-back first round picks and then restart.
Right.
But like I'm throwing up points. I mean, my quarterback was weak because Justin Fields.
Oops. Till he jumps
Probably
41.
Yeah, exactly.
Cheat code.
So we're like, I get to like 2-4, and I'm like, all right, I can lose, and fuck me, because I wanted to go 0-14.
Right.
I keep winning shit. Like I think I put up like 5 weeks of over 100 points in a row. I'm like, I'm trying to score 60 here. Like, what the hell is going on?
Yep.
Um,
I think my favorite moment was the Monday night game where you and Borg Chops were playing each other. Or was it Sunday afternoon? One of the whatever it was. You and Borgchops were playing, and the games were done, and all of a sudden the score changed by like 0.1 points, and it made you win and beat him. I was laughing so hard.
Yeah, I had lost to him, and he was someone who he's 4-10. I'm 5-9.
Right.
He wins that game, I move up. Just that game alone. Let's forget all the other games. Yep. Just that game. Because the next week, I'm pretty sure I beat. I'm pretty sure. No, it was one of the weeks, like either the next week or the week after, where I also won by like a point.
Dude,
Terrible.
Okay, you won 122.48 to 122.44.
And I had it lost.
The slimmest of margins, too.
Yeah, that is literally that's a yard passing, right?
Dude, yes,
like I'm
1 yard.
That's
1 yard.
Passing,
yes.
Not running.
Dude.
That would have been a big deal. 1 yard passing.
Yep.
Nothing like a cat's ass in the stream, right, Brad?
Yep.
Rosalind, say hi. She's photogenic, right?
She's gone now.
But yeah, so it was I was literally the inverse of Brad. I did way better than I was expecting. I'm upset about it. I'm like, I didn't want to do good. I wanted to suck in this league. I was putting in my $40 for Bijan. I was like, I'm just paying for Bijan right here.
Yeah, baby.
It hurts.
Right. Oh, it feels so good, dude. It feels so good. Well, okay, so to be fair, you finished 8th and Brad finished 7th. So that's cool. So Brad, who are you going to take with your 4th pick? Oh, you don't have it.
I don't have any draft picks next year. Not even one.
I know. That's
not even going to show up.
That's tough, dude. That's really
me and Jimmy
tough.
are going to have a party because neither of us have draft picks.
Neither just Frunza.
Where did all their
picks?
Yeah. So that's the next.
I got 3. How many do you have, Tom? Because you started off with 1 and then it went stupid.
I have a bunch of 24s. I have Bijan.
Oh, okay.
I have the 101. I think I sold one back to get AJ Brown back from Joe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I made that trade, Mark Andrews and his first for AJ Brown and Damian Pierce, and then I wanted AJ Brown back because I was trying to get a third wide receiver, and Jimmy put up Devontae Smith and wouldn't come off of him to me. I don't know if I offended him or something, but he just whatever. So he wouldn't trade him to me. So I went back.
And I wasn't interested in giving you either Justin Jefferson or Chase,
dude.
Which you were trying.
Well, at that point you wanted like Mark Andrews, and I'm like, well, Mark Andrews is my one advantage on your team because my tight end is a stud, and you didn't have one until you got Kelsey. So
we do need to find a way to distinguish Jimmy's.
So we have Jimmy and Jim K, right? Is that what
I call him? Jimmy goes by Jimmy, and Jim is Jim, right?
No. They both go by Jimmy. He put his name.
Really?
He goes by Jimmy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jimmy, I'm just gonna call it as Jimmy and Jim K. And he can fight me on the YouTube.
We can call him JK just because. Just like his team, he's just kidding that he's good.
Ooh, psych, yeah, fair. Ooh, jeez, draftjoshallen.com. So, yeah, I was, that last loss, and Brad winning definitely switched your guys' draft positions. So you got the 103 because of that. And I feel like you feel pretty lucky about that, dude. That's, it could have been worse.
Yeah, it could have been so much worse.
Yeah.
I almost made the playoff. It was a nail biter. All Fury had to do was lose, and all I had to do was win.
I know.
Because if I had scored 9 more points,
you had the tiebreakers.
Yeah,
I know, dude. I was looking at that like you're gonna sneak into the playoffs and jam yourself up real bad.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
The Alex Frunza, the
I'm
whut
getting
week leading
sick
up
just
to
looking at the stats here.
Isn't it bad just going through the weeks? I love the one where Johan and I played each other, and I beat you put like 129 points, which is like the third best in that week. But Joe and Marianne they had just made a trade, and Joe was like, Marianne's team is not that good. It's not that good. I'm taking her pick because she's going to finish worse than Brad. And then she puts up 191 points on him. And he goes, "Oh, I guess I shouldn't talk crap."
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I am really surprised as to how you guys both finished out. I would have lost tons of money betting that Johan, you would have. Well, to be fair, dude, you made some trades that really started stacking it. Like you got ETN, Justin Fields started coming alive. And that's what really started stacking
Yeah.
your wins up for you.
But you got to remember, I traded for ETN when Robinson had just come off like a 20-point game.
True.
Yeah.
Once again, like, don't get me wrong, I like the potential. Obviously, I gave up Jahan Dotson after he scored like, what was it, 4 touchdowns for?
Yeah.
He was scoring touchdowns like every week. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I traded him away, and Singletary, who looked like, because I think they just gotten rid of Moss, or they were just like they benched him or whatever.
They had traded him to Indianapolis.
Yeah, no, I think they did it before they traded him, but he had just done like he'd just been a healthy scratch.
Oh, okay,
So I traded him away for ETN. Once again, I was like, I can make my team worse. I hate Redskins players. Excuse me.
No, yeah.
Commanders players. Just because that organization from a real life
terrible, dude.
Oh,
it's
so
garbage.
bad.
It's garbage.
I didn't want that. I was like, Singleton's like old for running back. ETN will eventually be good just because he's a real talented player.
Yep.
And then it was like, and then he scored like 20 points 3 weeks in a row.
Right.
And then Fields, I mean, like, you love the talent.
Nobody could have guessed that, dude.
You love the talent, but the Bears are so dumb.
Yeah.
Like, just as a team and as an organization, hey, we've got this young, unexperienced, really athletic quarterback. Could be the next big thing. Let's give him no one to throw to.
Yeah.
Let's give him no offensive line to protect him, and let's tell him not to run.
Perfect.
That was
Matt
Matt. It was not Nagy this year. But it really looked like it. It looked like it.
Right. And then they're like, oh, we have this super athletic quarterback. Let's just let him run. Let's just let him go out there and play football. He breaks off 70-yard runs for touchdowns, and every time I see it, it just brings joy to my eyes because I know that that's one more pick that I'm going to move down and you move up.
Yep. Right to the heart. Right to the heart.
It does, dude. It really does. Yeah.
And just so we don't take hours.
Yeah.
Brad, what did you just play the only child card? Like, how the fuck did you get that thing going?
Dude. Yeah.
With
the
what,
trade.
my trade?
I guess I don't get to talk about my team and my expectations, how I thought I was going to finish first, and then I did.
Your team, your team just causes rifts. This is really what we should do. Which we should go to a 9-team league. You can say the commissioner. We'll just like
kick me out.
Keep your
team's
all
not
the players.
the corner. Yeah.
Your team's not newsworthy is really what it is. I mean, like, no one wants to hear about it because you were predicted to do well and you did well. Boring.
All right, moving on. Yeah, let's talk about this trade.
Okay.
Yeah, dude. The trade that I thought was going to make that Joe was signaling that he was leaving the league.
Yeah.
Well, should we go in order, in chronological order of the trades that happen in the league, though?
Yeah, let's do that. I don't think we have to discuss every one of them, but I'd like to start with
the big ones.
Yeah. The Amon-Ra, the fleecing of Jimmy.
That one was before mine, so I think we should talk about that one first.
Dude, okay. Fair. So first off, everybody, first round picks are valuable. Stop giving them away unless it's to me. Like, stop it. So it starts at Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jimmy's 2023 first, Jimmy's 2024 first. So 2 firsts and Amon-Ra for Juju Smith-Schuster, Elijah Mitchell, and 2 third-round picks.
Yeah.
I don't think I would do Amon-Ra St. Brown for that pile of shit anyways.
So you gotta remember, Jimmy's a Lions fan.
I know.
A lot of hype around the draft.
I know.
He drafted Jameson Williams. In his mind, Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's dead, which is awesome for me because in my eyes, they play 2 different positions. Jameson Williams is the fastest guy on that field. He would run circles around DeAndre Swift. He is going to be, when he catches the ball, he'll be great. He'll have a couple of weeks next year where he might put up 3 TDs for 150 yards on 4 catches. That is totally within the realm of possibility. Yeah. What's going to happen even more than that is he's going to run really fast down the field, take 2 guys with him, and Amon-Ra is just going to cut across the middle, and Jared Goff's going to have the easiest 300-yard day of his life.
Yeah, he's going to hit that 12-yard in with nobody but a linebacker in front of him, and he's going to catch 8, 9, 10, 11 balls at half-point PPR.
Hey, as a Tampa Bay fan, it's literally like it's like the rule I made myself starting like last year or 2 years ago. I was just making stupid trades for players I love.
Yeah.
I try to avoid Tampa Bay players as a long-term plan
Yes.
because I know it just hurts. You're never
It
right. They're
does.
never as good
It
as you
does.
want them to be
Yeah.
at all. And I'm so glad I did that this year because the Buccaneers are so bad.
Dude, it's
They
painful to watch.
hurt my soul. But in any case,
Yeah.
so I capitalized on that.
Yeah, you did.
I also don't like Juju.
You bold and capitalized on that, dude. 2 firsts and Amon-Ra. Like,
yeah,
oh my God.
I also didn't like Juju. I don't know if I've ever actually told Jimmy this, but I would have traded away Juju and 2/3 for a second. Like I would have I was not on that train. He did better than I thought.
But still, dude, he's not.
Well,
no.
I have an outside perspective on it that I view trades as like trying to align the players. Like how can you possibly match this up to make it work? If you were to justify, right? Could you say Amon-Ra for Juju, right? And you guys are you have an opinion, but like you could argue if you want to play devil's advocate that Juju going to the Chiefs without Tyreek Hill on an offense like that has the ceiling, the sky's the limit for the ceiling, right? I mean, and Amon-Ra is a second-year player on the Detroit Lions, who at the time, I mean, like, sure, like, playing good, but we know it's the Lions. So, like, you could argue at the time that Juju is a good player. You like a guy, you don't like a guy, right? But that's, you could see the perspective. And then you're like, okay, 2 firsts for Elijah Mitchell and 2/3, right? Then you match up that. If you really want to argue it, I think that's
for
2
sure.
firsts is too much. But you could argue that Elijah Mitchell is RB's premium position that you're trying to fill, but then
they didn't have McCaffrey, he wasn't hurt. Yeah, it makes sense.
So it's like you're paying a premium, right? And the 2/3 are supposed to. I mean, 2/3 for a first is almost like an even trade, right? If you wanted to do that, but depending on the draft year, right? So like if you're trying, it depends on what you're trying to get. If the draft class is good, top heavy, the first is probably more valuable. But if it's not, like maybe you want 2/3. If you're rebuilding, so that's kind of the viewpoint. But but right after the trade, I mean, like. Mitchell gets hurt, Juju sucks, and then Amon-Ra's great. It's like it makes you look like a genius, but really, I mean, it could have gone the other way. Like, what if the Lions suck and Amon-Ra was horrible, and then Juju was, the next he was putting up numbers like Tyreek Hill
he and
was
Mahomes
Chiefs,
go
right?
Tyreek. Yeah, exactly. And to be fair, this trade happened September 4th.
Yeah, it happened before the first game.
It did, yeah. So
it was before the first game. We didn't even know
the first game,
right? Yeah, so we didn't have that information.
What I do know is that Juju, and this is me just being a super football nerd. Like it is not anything to be proud of. I'm just a nerd.
It's great.
But all right, so Juju, his best year is his rookie year. Wide receivers are supposed to get better as they learn the system. He's getting worse. He's got like the procedures he was having on his knee were what like 50-year-olds have because there's like fluid buildup. I'm like, I don't fucking want this guy. Now, to be fair, he's proving somewhat wrong because he is better than I thought he was going to be.
He's doing okay.
He's doing all right.
Yeah.
But like I see those things, and in my head, it's a numbers game. Like if I see more red flags for one guy than the other, because Amon-Ra's only red flag is he played for the Lions. Like that's the number one.
Yeah, and that's not it.
Right. I mean, to be fair,
last year
that was pretty.
He looks like Golden Tate.
He does, dude. He does.
Before or after he, who was? Oh yeah, Russ's wife. That's right. That's right.
When Golden Tate was good, when he was good.
Orange visor, Golden Tate. No. So that that was kind of shocking, but when you put it that way, I can see how you can justify it.
It can be kind of fair, right? You can't be open minded.
Because there was a lot of questions around Amon-Ra. And that is fair. I did forget about that in the beginning of the year.
Yeah. And to be fair as well, like you said, I think picks were not super valued. I mean, because like I got the 1, 2, 3 last year. I got Breece Hall, traded away Kenneth Walker for Leonard Fournette. And like that comes back to the number game because my thought process behind that is like Kenneth Walker, good prospect, doesn't receive the ball and he's playing for the Seahawks who just lost Russ. All right, so that team's bad for the next 3-4 years, right? Look at the Colts. You lose a good quarterback, and they're terrible. Little do we know that Russ was holding the Seahawks back.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let Geno cook, dude.
Which, to be fair, for another team that's not here, for Fear's team, he was stocking up on Broncos players.
Yep.
So originally, he thought they were going to get Rodgers. They didn't, but they get Wilson. He's like, oh, perfect. I got Javonte. I got Judy. like this will be great. I'll be unstoppable. I'll have the new Rams offense,
Yeah.
basically. Then
Oops.
good shit.
Turns out
Like,
Russ, not that great.
Not the guy.
it's
Not the
I've watched
dude.
one full game of the Broncos
Oh,
and
it's
it
gross.
hurt.
Don't.
It hurt. I never played above D3 football. Like I
Yeah.
did not play at a high level. And I was like, I'm pretty sure I've seen better games that I've been a part of. Like this is painful to watch.
Yeah.
It's yeah. And
Yeah,
it's
it's not great.
they gave him everything he needed. Like
Yeah.
there was literally zero
Dude,
reason at all to think they were going to be bad. Zero.
there was arguing about like who's the fourth receiver on this team because they're going to get points too, and Albert O
Yeah.
is going to get rack points up, and there was no question. They're just like
Yeah.
there's going to be 8,000 points to go around, and who's going to get the majority of them? Well, the answer is nobody. Sorry,
Remember
man.
that.
Latavius
Remember
Murray
that.
is the guy.
Yeah.
You know?
Remember you saying that when we talk about my trade. Okay. Remember what
Yeah.
you said right there when we talk about my trade.
Speaking
Nice
of,
transition.
nice transition, great job.
Yeah.
September 21st, the day I thought Joe was leaving the league, Joe ships off Mike Evans, Jamar Chase, Garrett Wilson, and I almost said Bijan Robinson, but Brian Robinson for Cortland Sutton, T. Higgins, and Najee Harris.
Yes, sir.
And Najee, I would argue Najee was at his like semi-low point.
Yeah, I'm
this-
going to
No,
disagree
that
with
was his
you.
lowest
I'm going to
point.
disagree
So-
with you, and I'm going to argue with you guys on that because you can't. It's hard for you to say that because I'm going to go through the offers you made me. You want to know the offers you made me? So be careful what you say about Najee because you should know the offers you made for me, and
I do.
there's proof. And so you don't say that he's
There's- no,
garbage
you got-
when
you
you
never
made
say-
me.
Look,
Yeah, so
nobody is garbage. Everybody has to be purchased at the right price. There's always a price where it's logical to make the trade.
yeah. So you're
And
setting
my
the preface.
intent was you told me Johan really loved Najee, so I was gonna try to like send it that way
Yeah.
because I was trying
so-
to work for picks.
Exactly.
I still
So-
love Najee.
Yeah.
I'll
Just
be
remember-
perfectly honest.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Remember that when you try to justify the trade, right? The value, and I'm going to be totally honest. I'm not going to try to bullshit, right?
Yeah.
So like,
Good.
okay, so I wanted to get rid of Najee at all costs, right? I was fielding everybody. You guys knew you were making offers like Eckler, CeeDee Lamb, like like you were giving Johan was giving me 2 firsts and Fournette. Like those are
Whoa.
like insane
Whoa.
offers, right? And I
Whoa.
valued Najee. I valued him more than that, right? And like I was
Okay.
and like looking if in hindsight you're like wow, like what an insane offer, right? But at the time, like this was
Yep.
he is if you look at the dynasty draft boards, he's like one of the top 3 dynasty running backs. He's young. He's a workhorse running back. He's just on a poor team with a poor offensive line. So like you're not really getting to appreciate it, but it's a dynasty league. So like he'll grow and he'll be a good guy, And so like you value him as such, right? It's like you would trade Jonathan Taylor, right? If in his prime or whoever, you kind of value him in similar draft class, Swift, like, Javonte Williams, like, in a vacuum, you value these guys like a similar tier almost, right?
Yeah.
At the time. And so I'm like, all right, so I want to ship off Najee. And my initial offers to my dad, I'm like, I want Chase. So I'm like, because I don't want to do running back for running back. I'm like, I want to change my team to be like wide receiver focused. I'm like, I can win this league with just having good wide receivers and just mediocre running backs because of the injury prone history. I'm like, it's not worth investing, so much capital into a running back that could just tear an ACL and then be worth nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I want Chase. And I'm like, well, if I want Chase, I'm not going to take Chase and T Higgins, right? So that just started the foundation for the trade. I'm like, I'll give you Higgins, who I personally valued high, and Najee, who I also valued very high. I'm like, I want Chase. And I'm like, I also want Garrett Wilson. That's what started the trade.
Okay.
My dad's like, and at the time, Garrett Wilson was, granted, first round pick, number 1 receiver on the board, right? But hasn't been doing anything. He's on the Jets. And at the time, Jets were starting James Robinson. Flacco was throwing the ball a zillion times a game, right? But Garrett Wilson was getting like 40 yards a game, right? I'm like, this guy may be something next year, right? Wide receivers, year two are like usually the best. So I'm like, I want him. And my dad's like, nah, then we start going back and forth. And, he counters with, I'll take Cortland Sutton from you, who, like we talked about, like,
get rid of him.
I thought he was going to be good, right? With Russell at the time, like, wasn't horrible. And I think maybe Judy might have gone down at the time. And so like, he was the only guy on the team and, the Broncos weren't horrible yet. And so I'm like, he offers for Sutton, he offers for Najee and Higgins, and gives me Chase, Garrett Wilson, Brian Robinson, and Mike Evans. I would have done the trade without Evans.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm like, I don't even want Evans. I'm like, he threw that in. He offered that to me. I didn't even ask for that. And I'm like, Dad, I'm like, you seriously wanted this trade? I'm like, I sent a screenshot to Jimmy. He's like, I would have hit accept like 10 minutes ago on that trade. I'm like, yeah, it almost seemed too good to be true. And I mean, Brian Robinson just, he just got back from he was still injured. He wasn't even back yet. So like, I was like, I don't know how to value him. And I'm like, Evans is 29. I'm like, maybe has a couple of good years, maybe less now that we look at it.
He's a bye-week filler with your freaking stacked wide receivers. Like, okay.
Right. But how I value it, I'm like, after this trade's done, I immediately only have a starter with Chase, and then Evans as a filler, right? I'm like, and otherwise I don't have a running back to start in my eyes at the time because I'm getting Brian Robinson, who he's recovering from a gunshot wound. And I have Christian McCaffrey, who is injury prone, and I'm like, I can fill in Chase Edmonds, who is who I probably started.
Yeah, I think you did.
And I thought that was gonna be good. So from my perspective, I'm like, I mean, I agree I got the better end of the deal, and that will kind of explain like the Kamara deal a little bit later. But I'm like, if without Evans, right, and you evaluate that trade, I viewed it as fair. Now, what do you guys think? Like, just take Evans out of it at the time in the year and the players and the teams they were on and how they were playing. Like, could you argue that was somewhat of a fair deal?
So the reason why I think Joe did it and we all were kind of upset with it is he was selling hard for a young running back.
Yeah.
He was hitting me up for like Hall at that same time. I'm pretty sure he was hitting up other people for young running backs. He was freaking out because his running back core was old. Yeah. And like, so I get it from that standpoint, but I also, Joe comes in low ball, expects you to give him a decent offer, and then he's just going to pick the best one. But like, I don't know about you guys, but after like the third trade request, I'm like, nah, withdrawn, not countering. That's like, have fun. So by that time, he's coming in, he's giving like, all right, what am I actually going to give up for a young running back who should be good for a long time? And so he comes to Brad with what he thinks is a fair offer. And we're all saying, Jamar Chase is what, 22 now?
Yeah.
Wide receivers have longer careers than running backs. Finished higher as a wide receiver than Najee did as a running back. Yeah. And we're all like, what? Like, we'll give you more than that for Chase? Like, dude, shit.
Yeah.
Like,
yes. And just for Chase, not for all of your I think what concerned me and why I reacted the way I did was he said that he wanted to get younger, and then he trades away 3 of the youngest players in the league: Jamar Chase, Garrett Wilson, Brian Robinson. Okay, Brian Robinson hadn't done anything, but everybody in Washington was hyping him up as like, fuck Antonio Gibson. Brian Robinson's the starter. Garrett Wilson, top 10 draft capital. Yeah, he's on the Jets, but dude, he's young, and you follow talent. Don't draft the situation, draft the talent. That's a dude that you draft the talent. And Jamar Chase he's tied to his LSU quarterback. He's a dude. When I saw him in person, dude, I was the biggest fan. I don't gush over 22-year-old men very often, and I was like, I love this dude. So that's kind of what threw me off. And then Evans is a filler dude, at the time, and Evans hasn't done crap this year, but at the time he was a top 10 wide receiver for Tom Brady. Like,
maybe
what else? But yeah, now going on, I mean, probably not so much. But like, that's what concerned me, was like, yeah, I want to get younger, and I'm like, okay, well, don't trade away your youth then. You could build around Wilson and Chase. Wilson and Chase could be Jefferson and Chase that like you have in a couple years.
Yeah.
So that's why I reacted the way I did, and then you had to tell there's a new sheriff in town. Brad's coming to win, and fuck you, Tom. And
he knows how to get under your skin, though.
It was very cringy, he knows how to irritate you. He does, because I know how to irritate him, and we go back and forth, and I'm just like, all right, okay, bud. Like,
also, and I know before you say your opinion, Johanna, I think it's important to know like how these players were performing up to this point in the year, right?
Yeah.
Because I think that influenced heavily this trade. Up until the year, Jamar Chase, and I remember when the trade happened. This trade happened after week 5.
Yeah.
So week 1, 23 points. That was his best week up to this point. After that, it was 8, 9.7, 10, 8.5. And so at the time, Chase looks like he's not doing anything. T. Higgins looks like he's way better.
Yeah,
He's outperforming him. And so that, I think, played a big role in like evaluating. And they're 1 year apart, aren't they?
Yeah, they're 1 year apart. Yeah, 23. Yep, 23 and 22.
Yeah, so I'm like, maybe, I mean, I know Jamar Chase is more valuable than T. Higgins. And if you look at a dynasty draft board, which my dad does, T. Higgins is up there, a different, like 1 tier lower. And so, you're kind of justifying the Najee for the Jamar and the T. Higgins thrown in there. And then, it's important to understand that too. But what did you want to say, Johan?
Oh, yeah, I was basically going to say something along those lines of like, everyone, as much as you get fed up with decisions other people make or excited if you're the one getting the trade that you're really a big fan of, like everyone values differently. You values young wide receivers way less than young running backs, which you get to a certain extent. Everyone wants Jonathan Taylor, y'all want the young, like explosive running back because, exactly. And he's like, wide receivers, like whatever. The problem arises is like, and I'm guilty of this too. It's what happened to my draft. Like the first year is you get too kind of caught up with the way you value people. And so like Joe's kind of a slave to those boards. Like, like
dude, especially when I told him about keeptradecut.com, like that is his Bible now. And I'm like, dude, it's a tool. It's not a rule. All right. Not everybody's going to value everybody the same way that the communities do. And he's like, well, this is like 300 points off. So like it's just another tool out there. And guys, if you haven't heard of it, it's called keeptradecut.com. And it's a crowdsourced dynasty website where people vote on what players they would keep, trade, and cut. And basically rank them first, second, and third. And then that you kind of get an aggregate data point for how people view players specifically in a dynasty realm. So check that out. It gives you an idea.
And like, I'll come out here as someone who like knows what it is and doesn't use it. Like the reasons why I don't use it is because like, if you just play the numbers, you're basically guaranteeing yourself middle team. Like you're guaranteeing that you're going to be somewhere in the middle. You probably won't suck. You'll probably not make any dumb moves, but you probably won't make moves that are awesome and really help your team. For instance, Keep Trade Cut is the reason I have ETN because Travis Etienne is ranked low on Keep Trade Cut.
At that time,
he looked bad. He looked like James Robinson somehow beating Achilles, which, to be fair, I kind of thought he did too. I thought that was absolutely wild. I was literally thinking, well, Etienne's talented. Either they'll get rid of him or they'll get rid of James Robinson because they're not going to keep 2 guys they have to pay a lot of money to.
Right.
So I was like, he'll be good. Then they ship off Robinson. Then we find out that apparently the Jags are good, and he was actually not that good. So this year has probably been the most
crazy,
surprising, fucked up year I think I could ever remember. Like,
and at that point, I think you what you did is you trusted the draft capital, right?
Yeah.
Like James Robinson was an undrafted free agent. His year's up. ETN had a first round pick and selection. Like you have to trust that draft capital, and you did, and I think you won that trade big time.
Yeah.
Of course now, like, James Robinson falls apart. He gets traded to the Jets and doesn't start, like, whatever, and ETN looks on fire because Trevor Lawrence is good. Turns out Christian Kirk's pretty decent. Like, everything just fell into place. So, like, and I know I was like, this is a league-altering trade with the Jamar Chase one, but, like, I'm never going to veto that or anything like that. Like, because look how it turned out, right? Brad's got stacked receivers, but he didn't win like anything after that. And I'm not trying to like shit on you or whatever, but really, it's perceived value, and both of you guys were happy with the trade. It looked concerning, and that's why I like had to talk to Joe and be like, dude, are you staying? Like, what's going on? Do I need to address something? And he's like, no, I'm in. I'm good. And okay, so let everybody make their teams, and I'm not gonna police that. Like it's your team, it's Joe's team. Let them do what they do. So
and I mean, just one more thing, like just piggybacking off of like the points and how they were doing at the time. Like Courtland Sutton, I just looked at his game log too because it heavily influenced these trades. He was like 10 like 15, 15, 15, to start the
Oh,
season
okay.
with Russ.
Yeah,
It's like
that makes a big
he
difference.
wasn't a slouch
Yeah,
at the
for
time
sure.
either.
For sure.
And Higgins was out. I just looked at Higgins too. He was getting more points than Jamar
Yeah.
the entire start of the season too. So
Yeah, he was.
that kind of influenced that. But
For sure. No, and it caught me off guard. I think it caught a lot of people off guard. I know that a lot of us were sending offers for strictly Jamar Chase when we learned that he was kind of on the table. But hey, you got that. You got it done. You played the "I'm your baby boy" card, and you did what you got to do. So
yep, it works out.
We won't beat that horse any longer. Let's move on to I made the trade with Romeo Dobbs with Frunza. Apparently, he's a big Packers fan.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Dobbs
Plenty
looked good.
there.
Yeah. Well, I received the trade offer. I didn't send that out. It was a 24 first for Romeo Dobbs. Dobbs is somebody that I had targeted after the draft, along with Isaiah Pacheco. I picked him up from waivers right after the draft. I figured he'd have a chance. He looked pretty good for the first 6 weeks before he got injured. He looked like he was going to be Rodgers' number one wide receiver. And the trade came through for the first. That was October 4th. And I sat there and looked at it, and I was like, did I miss something? Because, did I miss news that him and Aaron Rodgers are getting breakfast every morning together or whatever? And I just had to pull the trigger. It was simple as that. So that wasn't really a big discussion. Johan, you went and got ETN from Joe. ETN, that was October 7th. It was ETN for Singletary, Dotson, and a second. I mean, that's pretty fair. Yeah, especially at the time that it was. That seems pretty fair. And I remember because that was right before Brad's wedding. The first thing that came out of Joe's mouth when I saw him at the pre-wedding was, dude, check out this trade I just made with Johan. What do you think of this? And I'm like, we just drove 4 hours up to freaking Charlevoix. Let me take a breath.
Relax.
Right,
relax,
exactly.
Dad.
So he was all into it. I think that was a pretty fair trade. That seemed good.
Yeah.
Then Joe traded DeAndre Hopkins. He got an offer from Jimmy for a 25 first, a 24 second, at 23 third. It might be a slight overpay, but it's still, hey, that's fair. 25 first, it's 2 years away. Hopkins got a couple years in him with a good quarterback. Rest in peace, Kyler.
Yeah.
But that's pretty fair for a number one wide receiver.
Yeah. No,
I thought it was fair.
That's a great example of Joe's I want picks down the line.
Yeah.
Jimmy's I want to win now. He already sold his first this year. He's obviously
Jimmy
trying to make moves.
He doesn't like picks. Yeah, he doesn't like picks.
Yeah, perfect, dude. And if you can trade unknown quantities for known quantities, do it. That works, dude. That works out. So that was a good trade. Then me and Joe traded the Mark Andrews and hit Joe's first for AJ Brown and Dameon Pierce, which we worked that one for a while. I remember multiple 2-hour phone calls at 11 o'clock at night with Joe discussing this trade and how we could work it out and how we could score it. Looks like Brad's camera froze.
No, I don't think it did.
Oh, there you go. Okay. No, you're good. He was maybe he was just really in thought.
I was, yeah. I just was thinking about how much I yelled at my dad after he made that trade. I was like, that was a horrible trade.
Dude, that was a good trade. That was well, he didn't have to give up his
fair.
first. It looked, it looked fair at the time, too.
I thought he could have given you Andrews for Brown and Pierce without the first. That's what I thought.
So
I thought you could have evaluated that fairly.
Now,
personally.
I love Dameon Pierce.
Right,
so
but
I was
very
high on him.
But you can't, you got to look from an opposite perspective. He's on the Texans. Sure, he's a great runner. But, Mark Andrews, you would argue that he is, league-winning tight end.
Yeah, he is.
Right?
That's why I did it. That's why I gave up A.J. Brown to
20,
get him.
30 points a week, it felt like, at the beginning of the season.
He hasn't done shit since. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
He's
Karma's
looked
a
really
bitch.
bad. Yeah, it sure is, Travis Kelce. How's that working out?
Horrible.
So, yeah, I traded that. God, really? It's going to end in 10 minutes again. Okay. I'll have to stitch these together. It's fine. So I made that trade. We talked about it for a very long time to get what we both determined was fair. We pulled that off. And I mean, looking at it now with me having the 101, I definitely won that trade. But
Yeah.
then I ended up okay, so we have Ertz, Joe and Marianne. Joe needed a tight end, so he got Ertz for
I hated that
Elliott in the
trade.
third. Why?
It
What's
doesn't
wrong
align
with
with
that
it
trade?
doesn't align with his goals, right?
It
Like
doesn't.
it's you're trading a draft pick and Zeke for an old tight end.
For an
Like,
old
and he's
tight
not.
end.
I mean, sure he's top 10, but it's like, come on, it's not. Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make
Right.
any sense. Like,
Right.
go to the waiver
again.
wire.
Again,
Keep your
what you said was the alignment, right? Like if you're trying to get younger, if you're trying to tank, you want to collect picks. You don't want to collect aging assets. So I think Marianne took advantage of a vulnerable old man.
After that week, he's trying to trade me Ertz, bro. He's trying to trade me Ertz after that. Like,
dude,
get out of here.
Come on, dude. No.
Yep.
Let's see. Johan collects another first-round pick for Fournette. I know that you were shopping
He was
Fournette
trying to get rid of
hard
him.
for a first,
Yeah.
dude. Hard.
Well, that was my plan when I traded the second pick to Marianne for him. I was like, perfect. He'll start the season great. I'll be able to dump him for a first round.
Yep.
And then there's more picks. Because like I said, I did not think the Seahawks would be a good team for years to come. I was like, I don't want their running back.
Right.
I mean, I was obviously wrong about that one, but that's beside the point.
Yeah.
But so the point is get a couple good weeks out of him, dump him for a pick, and I get to pick someone because I like this draft class a lot. Obviously, I was getting everyone's 2023 at first.
You were.
But
and you and I had multiple conversations about, dude, you better knock it off because I'm trying to get some too. And you're like, too bad.
If I just ended the year with 5, I would have been totally.
That would have been awesome, dude. Could you
give me
imagine?
5 through 10? I'll be fine with that.
Juicer, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got another first, and you gave up Ayuk too, who ended up having a pretty good second half of the year.
Yeah, he did. He did the same thing to me last year. Because I forget. Yeah, whatever the case may be.
You and I traded.
Yeah.
Because I got AJ Brown from you, and I gave you Ayuk and a pick or something like that. Yeah.
And I like the player, but man, San Francisco,
it is hard to
peg. It is hard to peg who's going to do well in San Francisco. That's one of the reasons why I was good with trading Mitchell. I was like, he's great for now. Right. The only thing you know for sure is you don't know who the running back is. So
right. And I mean, Ayuk might be that dude. You know, he might finally be coming into it, and Debo has kind of shown that he can't really hold up. So you might have got some value out of that. I don't really need it. We don't need to go through all of these. Like you and I, Johan, you and I traded Kyle Pitts for a couple firsts. And
I got a lot of text from Joe about that.
Yeah, I thought that trade was wild.
Happy.
You did?
He was pissed.
Why?
Well, he said I just got fleeced.
No, dude, no.
Yeah, no. And I made the trade, Tommy. I agree with you. I didn't get fleeced. I got fleeced if you're looking at it from a year-long perspective. This year, that's a terrible trade.
Dude.
Terrible. But I'm just betting that no matter where he ends up, he's gonna be a tight end one in the next 3.
He's going to be, he has the makeup to be Travis Kelce plus.
No, he's got the makeup to be DeAndre Hopkins in tight end form.
Dude, honestly,
that's why I sacrificed that much for him.
And that's why it was hard for me to give him up. Even for that, I was just we talked for a long time about that, dude. I remember Marianne's doing a photo shoot, and I'm sitting there like, fuck, what can we do? Does this feel good? I was questioning myself a lot. So Brad's got something to say.
I got something to say. So I can understand the trade, right? But I do think that, Johan, if you look at it from a strategic standpoint, Tommy has Andrews on his team, right? So he doesn't need 2 tight ends, right? So he's in a position where he's trying to liquidate an asset because he's no use for him right now. And in the foreseeable future, as long as Andrews is healthy and tight ends can play for a while, he's going to sit on his bench and he's going to struggle on who to start, right? So he's trying to liquidate. You have all the power. You could have easily just made him sweat it. Who cares? Be like, you know what? I don't think he's worth 2 firsts in Lazard. You could have made Tommy sit on him, and then you would have forced his hand. And he's saying no, but I think if you had the balls, you could have been like a first in Lazard, and then just see what happens.
This was like a 4-week-long trade that happened.
It was. It really was, dude.
Because
we know the value.
Yeah.
Should have made 8 weeks.
Yeah, that's the problem though. Me and Tommy, we tried to trade all the time.
I know we do.
And it's not good because we think too similar.
We do.
So me and Fear's actually gotten like upset with me for some like trades I've sent him because I'm trying to like guess who he's undervaluing.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sending him something, but he's thinking the same as me. So he's coming back. He's like, "You're just trying to fucking cheat me out, man."
I've done a couple trades with him too, where it's like I send him an offer and he's like, "Get your lowball bullshit out of here." I'm like, "Hey, come on! I'm putting a line out, take a bite or throw it back or whatever,
Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like we valued him pretty much identical, and I was just waiting one bad week after another for you to get fed up with him and give him like to be fair, like the picks I gave him were very strategic. There were
I know.
Like,
we were negotiating which firsts do I get.
Yeah.
That was very critical to it because you wanted to give me Jim's. I wanted yours. Like it was very there were a lot of pieces to it, dude. There really were. So
and like I said, short term, terrible trade for me. Like,
long term, dude, I could be eating butt for it. Like it could be terrible for me.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, you're gonna get someone most likely with those draft picks that you can play, or at least as a bye week filler. Maybe you get a starter regularly.
Yeah,
but
you're 24 first, Brock Bowers. Yeah. Come on, dude. Come on, give it to me. I'm already looking at that stuff.
Like Brad was talking about with like tight ends having a long career. Tight ends don't come out of the draft early. No. Like they don't. He's like the only one to do that and get drafted that high.
Yep.
So in my mind, I have a tight end in like if it takes him 3 years to get tight end number 1 status.
Yeah, but then he's got 10 years after that.
Yeah. Yeah, he's 25 and he's got at least 5, if not like 10 more years of like being a Kelsey level player.
Yep.
So I get it, Brad, but like, and to be fair, like maybe this knee injury is worse than we think. It ends his career, and I'm a moron, but
dude, but he wasn't hurt at that point. Like you're not trading for the injury. Anybody can get injured.
But,
yeah.
And I don't want to just. I'm not undervaluing his talent. I just was saying you thought you could have gotten away with a better deal.
I probably would have hung on to him at that point.
You would have.
And if anyone else had him, you're probably right, Brad.
Yeah.
But like the problem is like we're literally like talking about next year's draft class, and we're like arguing about like the receivers from like Ohio State versus LSU, and it's like there's no way. There's and he loves Florida. That's why I love Damian Pierce. Like there's no way I'm like talking him into that Pitts isn't actually talented. Like there's
Come on,
it's
dude.
like, is he like, do I pay it or do I not? That's basically what the conversation came down to.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if not, I would have happily held on to him until he got, Will Levis at quarterback and starts putting up, 20 touchdowns a year. And that's like, all right, man, the price of bricks gone up, dude. Come on. Talk to daddy now. So yeah, that was a legit like 4-week long trade to get that done. Then I ended up chipping one of those picks and Alan Lazard to get AJ Brown back from Joe. I gave up a first, a second. So Joe made me pay an extra second for this trade because of the fleecing that Marianne did to him with the Zach Ertz trade. He said, "You are paying for her sins. So if you want AJ Brown back, you are giving me 2,000 points advantage in KTC value." And I was like, I mean, yeah, that's fine, but I don't really want to have to do that. So that's how he ended up with that. And it looks like a pretty decent trade. I'm just happy to have AJ Brown back. I freaking love AJ Brown. So
yeah, in all seriousness, like next year, like, you're talking about maybe we switch out people every now and again, have new people in and all that. We should probably put a limit on it because like it's gonna get.
Well, I think this one's longer because we were recapping like an entire season.
We're talking about the whole season, and really it's giving us practice of like talking with each other and interact, and me making sure I'm going to do some video editing to cut out the bullshit and do some sound mixing and stuff like that. So it's just we're gonna work on it. Maybe I'll like throw the trades up on the screen. I'll mess with it and kind of make it cool.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
But yeah,
I mean, do we really have any other? Is there any other major trades to talk about, or do you want to just go into like playoff
the
stuff?
Olave one.
What's wrong with the Olave one, dude? What do you want to talk about that for?
Well, okay, so this comes back to, unfortunately, and I feel kind of bad about bringing it up, but maybe
no.
Think a little more about stuff. Is like, okay, like there's no like, it's not like he has a thought one day, makes a trade based on that. Has a thought another day, makes a different trade on that, and it's like no matter how that goes, it's going to end badly for him because he keeps switching, and there's no strategy like long term. It's all
Olave, or are you talking about Najee?
Najee turned to
Oh,
Marion, I
I
assume.
thought you said Olave.
He did say Olave, so we can talk.
Yeah,
We can talk
well,
about that too.
because to me, that's like that's super important in there
Yeah.
because
So,
so
Which
remind me
one?
about the specifics again, just to make sure I don't misspeak on like who got what.
so the Olave trade was me trading with Mike Borkchops,
Yeah.
Deontay Foreman, Mike Gesicki for Chris Olave. Now this is right after Deontay Foreman put up two like 25+ point games.
Yeah.
And he needed a running back. He had CEH get hurt, get sent to the shadow realm, never touching the football again. And he had, I think Nick Chubb was on bye, so he was really shallow at running back. And I personally I like Deontay Foreman coming out of Texas. He got really screwed by his injury. I liked him as a runner back then. I always tried to pick him up when he was subbing for Derrick Henry. I always tried to have him on my bench if I could. So yeah, I picked him up off the waiver wire, but I don't think that he's just a bad player. I think that he was having success around what little was left of Carolina's offense, because that's right after they shipped off McCaffrey. So the McCaffrey trade got announced, and I think 2 minutes later I had Foreman on my bench because I knew that he was the next guy up, and I knew what he had done in Tennessee the year before. So I wanted to make sure that he was on there. I started him for one of the 30-point games. He's a good dude. Like, I'm not trying to sell it so it makes everybody feel good, but I threw Gesicki in because he needed a tight end. I didn't need another guy like that, and I just threw it out there, and it hung. And Mike and I had a meeting, and we pinged each other afterwards, and I was like, "Hey, I sent you a trade. You need a running back. Take a look at it. Let me know what you think." And like 3 minutes later, he said, "Smashed accept." So one of the things that we need to talk about, and I'll do a little caveat here. Hey, Mike, talk to the boys here, all right? They send a lot of trade offers. They want you to interact. You're lagging a little bit behind, and we really want to get you on board with this because we've been having a lot of fun. And I'm hoping that with us doing this, maybe you want to be a part of it, So I know you're really busy with school and everything, but you know what? We're super fucking busy. So we make time for this, all right? 11 o'clock phone calls, that type of stuff. So, and you always respond to my texts. So this is just a little plea as your boy and a couple other boys here waiting for you. Let's get a little bit more active with that, okay? So go ahead.
I mean, I don't. I mean, the trade is what it is. I mean, would I do it? No. But if both parties are happy, I think my two problems with the trade don't really have to do with the trade itself. It's the fact that, like you said, like this guy doesn't listen to any trades I have to say, and then he trades with you, and that I value it as unfair. I'm like, this seems like some BS, but like, like whatever, you can make an argument, but like if you at least like hear my offers or talk to me when I try to talk to you, like then I wouldn't be as upset because I'm like, at least I tried, but I felt like I never had a chance, right? Because I've offered, sure. I want to talk about those players, and like it falls on deaf ears, right? So that was my one issue. And then also like his team's tanking, right? At this time he's probably got like one win. I'm like, what are you doing trying to get a team that you can start by giving away one of your rookie of the year wide receivers? Like it doesn't make sense to like the goal, long-term goal. So I'm like, what are you doing? Is it just you don't know, or did you really think that this was a good trade? I don't know.
And I asked that. I was like, what's your goal? And he was like, well, I'm trying to make the playoffs. And I was, because originally I asked for Amari Cooper, and he's like, nah, Cooper's my dude. So I'm like, okay, because I need a wide receiver, right? And I was working after I traded AJ Brown away. I was like, I gotta get a wide receiver from somewhere. So like, how can I do that? So I originally reached out to him about Cooper, and he was like, nah, dude, I'm not giving Cooper up. I want to try to win. And I'm looking, and I'm like, I don't know that that's the feasible decision right now. Like that you should be probably trying to take Bijan from like the one of those guys like that. But everybody plays how they want to. Maybe it's a learning experience for next year, to recognize, am I competing or not, and make decisions based on that. And I think everybody could take a look in the mirror and say, dude, am I going to make the playoffs? Am I going to do anything when I make the playoffs and disrupt something, or should I start looking to do a quick rebuild? Maybe in a year or two, right? So. I wish that he would respond to the rest of the people like he was responding to me and Marianne a couple times, just because that way it is more fair. I don't want to have the secret plug. You know what I mean? Like that's not fair. Like, and I figured, okay, if he's responded to my trade, like maybe he's at least looking at your guys' stuff and there's something out there better. So yeah, that's kind of my plea again. Like I said, I'm going to catch up with him probably tomorrow, and just say, hey, watch the video. Look at the dudes' faces right now. They look dejected and sad. Like they want you to be a part of this, because dude, I think we're all having fun with it, and to have a full group of 10 guys doing it, that'd be pretty cool. So we'll work on it. So yeah, that was the Olave trade, and then right after. So Najee didn't come until later when. No, okay, so it happened. Yeah, good.
Yeah, I mean, Johan was commenting on it. Like,
yeah,
the thing is the last one we really need to talk about, right? I mean, Johan, if you had your thoughts,
well,
I
the
mean, I'm
Kelsey
seeing the same
trade
thing.
also.
Oh yeah, that one too. But
yeah, because they happened on the same day.
Yeah,
Najee one. You were saying
that was just because, like, why is Najee in a trade? Like, there you do all this, you ship away all this stuff. Why is
Chase, dude? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like.
Yep.
And I mean, it is what it is. Like I said, I'm still a Najee fan. He tried to get me to trade for him for honestly what was a good price, but he just, wants a first round for 2023. Najee is, I'm a big fan of Najee. He got really screwed, and this is like, I drafted him in way too many redraft leagues, and because I was thinking about, you forget about teams' histories. Like, so he has a Liz Frank injury in the offseason, which is bad. And then they're like, he's good. He's starting week 1. He's good. I'm like, must not been that bad. Forgetting that the Steelers literally love to just pound running backs in the ground. So they are useless, and then they get rid of them.
And their O-line's pretty bad.
Yeah, and their O-line's pretty bad too. Like, to be fair, like Najee did not look like Najee for the first half of the year. That's why, like, his first good game was when he came back from the bye week. Like, that's not a coincidence. That's okay, he actually had a chance to, like, not play hurt the entire season. And now he's doing like closer to what like you would expect with a bad offense. Like he's scoring good points most weeks. He's not shattering the world, but he's getting the volume. He's
20 for 99 and a touchdown, stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's what he was valued at. I mean, that's the kind of guy he was. And like I told my dad, like, you're selling him at a loss, and you can't do that. This is like buying and selling stocks.
It's buying high and selling low, dude. I made that same comparison to him.
You can't do that,
So it was Najee Harris and a 23 third for what was Mary Ann's 23 first. Now, remember there being a discussion between who's first, because Mary Ann at that point owned Brad's first and her own first. And there was a discussion at that point about whose first it would be. And Joe said, Mary Ann's team is not going far in the playoffs. Brad is going to crush it. Give me Mary Ann's pick. And then Mary Ann dropped 191 points on his head, and Brad hasn't won a game since. So I blame your dad for your losses. Let's just put it that way. Like, it's his fault.
I blame my team.
Honestly. So we'll look at that, because right after that trade, we had Brad trade for Travis Kelce with Mary Ann. And Mary Ann loves Travis Kelce. She thinks he's handsome. He's a freaking stud. He drops 30 points every week. He's a beast. So, Brad, you gave her your 23 first, Garrett Wilson, a 23 third, and you gave her the pick of your tight ends, right? So you had like Tyler Higbee. She picked Dalton Schultz, which I think is a smart
easiest
pick.
one, smartest, best kind of team. Yeah.
So you had a couple tight ends. He's pretty much by far the best one that you had.
Yep.
Because you're like, dude, I have to keep up with Tommy. I need a tight end, right? Because then it's like it's the arms race at that point. There's one tight end that beats Mark Andrews, and it's Travis Kelce. So you're stacked at wide receiver. I feel pretty good at running back. We're gonna have those really close games. So you make that move, and I totally understand it. I think you maybe overpaid a little bit, but I understand why, because you needed every advantage that you could get if you're going to make a run in the playoffs and try to push for a bye week. And you you literally got unlucky. That is what happened. It goes points for 10th place, 1451, 9th place, 1482, 8th place, 1522, you in 7th place, 1779 points for. You had 300 points more than the last place player, and you are in fourth from last. Like, so I understand the move. How do you feel about that trade now?
where I was standing too. I mean, obviously, like I thought that she got the better end of the trade,
Mm.
but I mean, I value Travis Kelce. I'm like, I was looking into his contract information deals and like how he is with the Chiefs and his health, and I'm like, he's with the Chiefs for at least 3 more years. Like
Hmm.
he's literally signed for at least 3 more years. So
Yep.
I'm like, tight ends can play
Yeah.
into their mid 30s and still be very good. He's probably one of the best tight ends to ever play the game.
Yeah.
All right, and he's on a good team. I'm like. It didn't work out this year. I mean, I was expecting to at least
Yeah.
make the playoffs, right? And
Yeah.
like this guy would give me the chance to win.
Yep.
And giving away, I didn't want to give away Garrett Wilson. I didn't want to do this and that, but I mean, like, I did what I thought I had to do.
Yeah.
I talked it down. I mean, the trade talks were starting at like 2 firsts and Ramondre plus a Dalton Schultz for Travis Kelce alone. I'm like,
Jesus.
at least I talked it down from that. But
yeah, no kidding. Holy crap.
So
I didn't know that offer.
Yeah, it was bad. It was that was like the best offer for a while. So
Wow.
she'll
tell me about things like that go on because like she wants to bounce ideas and stuff off me. She didn't tell me about that. That's crazy.
It was like it went. Yeah, so obviously I didn't do that trade, and I just was like, what? Screw this. But now I don't think. I mean, it sucks that he didn't help me like win my league because whenever he did well, the rest of my team did poorly. That's the story of my league. That's the season. That's why I am where I am. But I think that he's still going to be a focal point of my offense for the next 2 years. So like I looked at it like, if I don't get my first and third next year, but I still got Kelce and I still have young wide receivers that if they stay healthy, I still have a shot. So I mean, I guess that's where I'm at.
I think that like when you look at the process behind it, it was the right move. You want to win. You have the opportunity to win. McCaffrey's healthy all year. You have guys that are blowing up. Like that puts you over the edge. The process behind the trade was good. You just literally got unlucky. And I'm not a big fan of saying people got lucky or unlucky. But you really just got unlucky. It's very surprising.
And if Kelce was on anyone else, if Kelce was on like my dad's team, or if he was on Jim or Johan's team, like I would have got Kelce for much a better price, right? Because you would have been selling the guy, right? You'd have been like, this is a sell. I'm rebuilding. Like I would not have had to pay that, but since Marianne was competing, right? That's why I paid a premium. So
exactly. So you have the player value, and then you have the player value on the team they're on too, right? Mm-hmm. So it's tough to navigate that stuff. And I think that's what makes Dynasty so much fun is that these conversations can happen and the justifications. And dude, we've talked about trades for weeks at a time. And that's cool. You don't get that in redraft. So that's why I really have been enjoying this. And especially since a lot of more people have been getting active with the trading, like it makes it a lot of fun to have. So,
every week Kyle Pitts plays from now until he's like 30 is going to be in conversation.
That's yours.
One way or the other.
Dude, I know.
Like, you suck. Like, I dumped him off on you. Or me being like, oh, you should have traded your whole team. Like, like.
Yep. How those picks work out. Dude, we can always go back and like watch the shit and the discussions behind it and be like, oh, well, maybe I was pretty off on that. So, no, it's just cool to do. And then the last trade was, did we talk about Najee?
Yeah,
we did already.
Okay, Najee. Yeah, sorry. Najee's been the town bicycle, dude. Just riding every team's getting a turn. That was the last trade that we made. That was November 7th. So we had a pretty active trading period this year, and I think it helped that people were taking a look at what their teams were and acting accordingly. I kind of feel like if Joe hadn't given up what he did to make the moves that he did and just been a little bit more patient, he could have been right there competing with ETN, Jamar Chase, Mark Andrews. Like that's a pretty damn good team, dude. So you never know how it shakes out, and you're only going off the information that you have once a week. So I'm not going to shit on anybody for doing the moves that they did. It's interesting to see how it sees out and to take an introspective look at the end of the year and kind of coulda woulda. So those are the trades. Is there anything else you guys want to bring up with that?
No trade. I just want to show you one. If we're going to talk about like winning playoffs and our predictions really quick, I want you guys to look at my week 11. Okay, just please take a look at my week 11.
Okay.
And it just tells the story of my season. Okay, I'm gonna tell it to you how it was. I have. You can look at my roster and let me know if you would do anything differently. This is after the Kelce trade. Okay. I have Lamar Jackson starting over Burrow because the Ravens were playing Carolina, who was playing like dog water.
Yep.
and
Burrow's
I thought
playing
that
Pittsburgh,
right? So I'm like, I should pick Lamar, right? And I did that. Christian McCaffrey, easy start. Alvin Kamara, easy start, right? Justin Jefferson, easy start. Like, there's really no question.
Hang on, time out. What did you get Kamara for? Because you traded
a second,
you traded with Joe.
Second, and I traded Brian Robinson back.
Okay. Yep. Okay.
So
I feel like the Brian Robinson throw-in was like an apology for the.
It was.
Okay.
You know. And then so MVS, I think I had to start because I probably didn't have. I had a bye. Mike Evans was on a bye.
Evans was on a bye. Yep.
So I wasn't really excited about that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Chase was
Jamar Chase was out, right? So like, of course that.
Yeah.
So but this is an important week because then I have Myers in there, Travis Kelce, Ramondre Stevenson. Okay, so solid-ish lineup, right? But I wasn't really worried about the lineup. It was who I was playing, right? So I was playing for must-win week, right? I am like literally, free falling, need to win a game here.
Yep.
This
is the week that he started both Lions running backs.
And Kupp out for the season. Right before this, I'm like, this is the guy that can win the game for him, right? I'm like, I am in such a good spot. I was up by predicted to win by 40 points.
Yep.
With my starting lineup the way it was, I'm like, he's starting 2 Detroit running backs against the Giants. I'm like, there's no way they both go off, right? He's got no Kupp. Okay, he's starting Christian Watson.
Oh, this is the Christian who hadn't done anything. Yeah, this is his breakout game,
right?
Dude. Yep.
You're looking at this game, right? Please tell me if you think I win this week, right? Just at the start, right? I feel like you're in such a good spot, and I just got absolutely smoked. It felt like Jefferson gets 4 points, Kelce gets 32. It doesn't matter because you both can't do good in the same week. Like, I mean, come on, give me a break. And so that was for me was one game I wanted to show you because I felt like it was just so unlucky.
Yeah, it was a culmination of it.
He starts 2 Detroit running backs, and they get 4 touchdowns between them.
Like, dude.
No one's calling that.
No.
Yeah,
and Jefferson gets shut down by Dallas. Dallas is a great defense, but 40-3, like
Christian Watson.
Yep.
Yeah,
Christian Watson goes off.
4 catches for 2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns. Yep.
I'm watching that game. I'm like, I'm losing my mind.
Kittle. Now George Kittle against Arizona. Arizona's really bad this year against tight ends, but 2 touchdowns from George Kittle.
Hey, best game of the season. Players do that against me. Best game of the season against me. That happens all the time.
Yeah, he's starting Antonio Gibson, like 18 carries, 72 yards against Houston. Doesn't score a touchdown, but still he gets the bulk of the work. Like but Buffalo against Cleveland only put up 5 points. Like you just. You
so I just want to show that, but prediction wise, I don't know if you want us to kick it off, but I have thoughts on who I think will win.
Prediction, who's winning the playoffs and why?
So I mean, if I'm being honest, Fear and Jim K are just write-offs. I mean, I don't know if anyone else feels the same, but I think there's 0% chance that either of them wins. I mean, maybe they get lucky and they win a game, but I think there's 0% chance that they actually win.
Yeah, so. I feel a little bit more comfortable saying this since we had the pre-talk, but I think the 9-2 Jim K dream is over with Josh Allen, especially after he put up like 68 points that one week. I think Josh Allen was definitely carrying that team, and much respect, dude. You beat me, you beat Marianne, you beat almost everybody in the league once. But it's finally caught up where Josh Allen's not getting 40 points a week anymore.
And don't get me wrong, Jim K's team. It feels real weird calling him Jim K because I definitely know him better than the others.
Right.
JK over here, he's got a lot of players who are boom potential.
Yeah,
so if
Derrick
they all
Henry,
boom
Montgomery
at the right time, sure.
Yeah.
But they're not all going to boom. I shouldn't say that. I might jinx it.
They might.
I don't think they're going to. Yeah, they might boom all at the same time, but that's the only way he's going to win. He's not going to win because, his team is better. He's going to win because they all go off at the same time.
Yeah.
And then,
Josh Allen, Derrick Henry, David Montgomery, Christian Kirk, Brandon Ayuk, Tyler Boyd, Leonard Fournette. I mean, they could. Dude, Tyler Boyd could put up 20 points. Ayuk could put up 2 touchdowns. Christian Kirk could put up 3 touchdowns like he's done before.
They could also get you 4 points.
He could also get you 4, exactly. And Derrick Henry, I mean, he's always going to get the rock, but he puts up a lot of points against pretty shitty teams. And Josh Allen is good for a lot. So he could spike to 150 points. He could put up 70. It's very volatile at that point. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So I mean, in terms of who I think is going to actually win, I mean, I think that it's between Jimmy, Marianne, and you, Tommy, that have the best chance of winning the league. I think that I think that Jimmy wins this week. I think that Jim probably beats Frenza. I know that he's uh, not favored to win, but I think that he ends pulling this one out. And then I think that Marianne's team is good.
She's in trouble without Kyler now,
But the
dude.
thing is like she's trouble quarterback, and her players. I feel like it's all eggs in one basket. It feels like it feels like if Devonte Adams or Diggs have a bad week, I'm like, oh my God, how are you going to
Yeah.
win this game?
Yeah.
You're not like balanced. But
Right.
if those guys can win a game for her single handedly, but I think that you
Oh,
have the most
I've done it
well-rounded
multiple
team.
times, dude. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
ridiculous. And that kind of happened this past week. I mean, she was predicted to beat me. Kyler puts up 0.66 points. He gets hurt third player of the game. That's unexpected. But Diggs 5.2, Adams 8.6. That was my chance to win. Keenan Allen
Yep.
put up. There were some points left on the bench. James Conner put up 20 points. I probably wouldn't have started him against New England, but they had no other option than to run. Thielen puts up 16 on the bench, so there were opportunities there. But losing your quarterback, you can't expect that to happen the way that it did. I know she has Mike White, and she picked up who'd she pick up this week? She made a couple moves on the waiver, Tannehill and Tyler Huntley.
Yeah.
So she's got some options, but I mean, Huntley could spike. If Lamar Jackson doesn't go, Huntley could spike and put up 25 points. He did it a couple times last year, depending on the matchup. She is always one of those teams where it's like, what? How the fuck did that just happen? Like 190 points against Joe. She puts up 150 regularly. It's going to be close. I think you're right with those three. Jalen Hurts, dude, he's a freaking beast for.
I wouldn't
for
count Jimmy out. His team
dude.
could pop off.
Yeah,
It could.
Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, Miles Sanders, and then
Waddle.
of course Hopkins, Waddle, Lockett. Like,
Yeah.
he's got a
All
good
potential.
team, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be alone on this one, but I think if Marianne can survive this week, she's
got the bye.
She got the bye.
Oh, she got the bye. Oh, I
she got
wasn't
the
even
bye,
looking at that.
dude.
Yeah,
So like,
no. Like her biggest issue is quarterback, right?
Yeah.
Well, if Mike White isn't dead, which I don't think he is, but after that game, I'm not sure.
right.
If he's not, he's throwing the ball so goddamn much. And she's got Garrett Wilson, so that's a stack that can blow up in anyone's face.
With
And
Mike
then
White at
Walker's
quarterback,
coming back.
yeah. So with Mike White at quarterback, they average 74 plays a game.
Yeah,
That's insane.
it's stupid. And like I hear what you're saying, like, but that's always the thing about wide receivers. That's why most people always talk about wanting a good running back stable because it's more consistent.
Yeah.
But Stephon Diggs and Devontae Adams, right there alone, if they both have a good week, we were talking about Jimmy having boom bust players. They're not boom bust players, and if they boom, the two of them can combine for 80 points just between
Easily.
the two of them.
They've done it a couple times
they've
too,
done it.
dude.
Yeah.
Adams
then
188 yards and 3 touchdowns. Like, okay, what do you do?
And she's got Keenan back. I think you guys might be like undervaluing that. Like, I know it's not like full PPR, but even so, I mean, like, what
He
Keenan's
had
got.
he had 14 targets last week. He had 12
he's
catches on 14 targets.
He's had 14 targets the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's
Like,
crazy
back to back.
amounts, dude.
Like with that
Herbert
being her
loves him.
like fourth, that's her fourth best wide receiver.
Yeah.
And like I get it, wide receivers can screw you hard, but so can a running back if they get it hurt.
Yep.
Like,
Yep. You
So
look at
I
that
don't-
consistency, or running backs can get schemed out of a game. Sometimes wide receivers can. Like if you're up 30 points, you're probably not chucking the ball anymore. But like running backs can get schemed out a lot faster than a wide receiver can. So yeah, I agree, dude. I'm always nervous, and I swear, dude, if she beats me again in the finals, I'm gonna be pissed. You have no idea, dude. As the trophy is sitting on her desk, just laughing at me every time I see it. But I think with those top 3 teams, they could be. It could be anybody. It just really depends on the week. So that's why I'm glad I locked up the bye, so I didn't have to face somebody I didn't want to run into, dude. Like,
Yeah.
it was worrying. I hope I pull it off. I mean, I'd really like to keep the trophy in house. It'd be pretty sweet. Have it sit behind the desk every week and put it on camera. But it's going to be close, and it's not. All you have to do is get in, and you can make some noise.
Yeah.
That's one step at a time. Because, dude, Brad, if you would have made it in the play, if you would have made that 6th seed, you could have freaking taken it all. You could have literally just won out and won it all.
I felt like my team had the ability to do so with Chase coming back.
Yeah.
So
Or Johan, you stumble into the playoffs. You could make
I would
the
have loved
finals.
that.
So
I would have been rooting for you.
Wouldn't that have been great? I would have been rooting for you, dude. Like that would have been freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Maybe I should try to lose more often. It seemed to work pretty well. Like,
Right?
You're trying to lose and you're winning. I'm trying to win. I'm losing. I'm like, what am I doing wrong here?
Right? No kidding. So yeah, I think that's a pretty good preview. We'll have to see how it goes. What about the draft? I had way too early draft thoughts. So like I said, the 101's locked up. I'm taking Bijan. Unless he gets struck by a meteor, I'm taking Bijan. He's amazing. I cannot wait. He's just such a good dude. I cannot wait to have him on my team for like 10 years. It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
Brad,
You don't have any picks.
I don't have any strong opinions because I don't have a draft pick, but I do like Blake Corum because I'm a Michigan fan. But then I heard he was not declaring it. I heard rumors that he was going back to Michigan next year after his surgery. So something to follow up on. But he
Was
might
that
not
like
actually be
today?
declaring. No, in the last week.
Okay.
Yeah, there's this one's gonna be weird because this is finally where like NIL deals are finally hitting.
Yes.
Like, there's rumors and they're just rumors, and he'll probably go because he'll probably be a first round pick. But there's people talking about Bijan making more money if he stays in Texas.
He's making a $10 million NIL deal right now, but he's sitting out the Alamo Bowl. So that kind of signals that because he can get NIL plus his contract, then he's a year ahead for his next NFL contract when he gets paid the big bucks. So I feel like he's done that valuation. I would do not put that into the air that he's not coming out, that he's going back. Do not do that to me. All right.
The problem is it's literally with everyone. Like anyone who looks really good, who could get a big NIL deal, anyone who's like was going to be a number one. Like, I was wondering if like Njigba, the wide receiver from Ohio State, was going to be the first off the board, period. He didn't have nearly as good of a year. It's a bunch of different things. But like, he might just take some NIL money and then come back when he thinks his draft stock is higher.
Yeah,
like, I don't even know if he's officially declared or not. But this one could just be weird because it's the Wild West right now.
It is. And I think that makes it cool. Like, it makes it a little bit more interesting because NIL deals are fully guaranteed. Like injury, transfer, whatever. That money is locked in. So
it's for your likeness. That's nothing. You can't make it performance based. You can't.
Right. No. Let me see. I feel like JSN declared. Did he not yet? I'm not sure. Anyways, I'll look that up. But yeah, I mean, he could still be the first wide receiver off the board.
Yeah,
I think he could. I mean, I think it's between him and Quentin Johnston. I think Johnston's a little bit more raw. There's some, as a wide receiver guy, there's some signs in him that concern me about how he catches the ball. But dude, you can't deny that he's going to tear it up at the combine, and somebody's going to fall in love with his size and his speed and his strength, and he could be great. I don't know. I think it's between them two for those. But dude, if you're drafting wide receiver, you might be doing it a little bit wrong because this is like the running back class, right? So you mentioned Corum. Yeah. If he's returning, that's one thing. But like Sean Tucker, Zach Evans, Tank Bigsby, there's so many dudes. Zach Charbonnet, like all of these guys are going to go in the first round. Everybody's going to get a rookie, and then you have all of the free agent running backs that are coming up. Also, like Damian Harris is going to go to a new team. He's not going to be stuck on the freaking Patriots anymore. Free my man. Rashad Penny is going to be moving to a different team. Like they're not going to re-sign him, right? The Seahawks are not going to re-sign him. So like, there's a lot of moving pieces. And I know, Brad, it sucks that you don't have a first round pick, but like, okay, you're at the 104. Who are you looking at as your team?
Oh, me? Yeah. Oh, wait, 104?
Brad's got the 104. If he had the pick, who are you looking at?
Oh, me. I mean, honestly, I stopped looking.
Did you? Okay. I mean, that's fair. It's not worth the mental energy.
It wasn't. I'm like, why even worry about it? So I stopped thinking about it. So I mean, I'm not the guy to ask for opinions on the draft next year.
That's fair. So I mean, Johan, I feel like we value players pretty similarly. I know who I would take in your situation. We're gonna assume. Looking at Bork's team, right? We're gonna assume I take Bijan, and then assuming everything goes right, Jahmyr Gibbs is the second off the board. You got 3 running backs and the top 2 wide receivers, top 3, Jordan Addison looking at you in the face. Where do you go?
Oh God, I don't know, because my whole plan was to like kind of wait and just see
Right.
where teams
Draft
are picking
capital.
guys up.
Sure.
Like because I hear what you're saying about these guys, but it's so hard to tell right now because you don't know
Yeah.
how their combine's gonna go.
Yep.
Because for wide receivers, I think they combines matter less.
Yeah.
Like, like all the fastest wide receivers aren't the best wide
No.
receivers. Like, the who are the two fastest guys this year? There was Thornton and who was the other guy who went really fast? Yeah, that's the point. Is I
Oh,
don't
it's
even remember.
Tyquan Thornton. Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't even
Yeah,
matter.
and
Yeah.
like it's not that doesn't make you that makes you a valuable player
Mhm.
because you make the other team respect you. Like
Yeah.
Thornton is a great player for the Patriots because they have to cover the deep ball.
Right.
That doesn't make him a good fantasy like pickup.
Right.
Like, Garrett Wilson, what's everyone say about him? He's so smooth. I don't even think he was faster than Olave. He wasn't even the
No.
fastest guy in his college
On his team. No.
But he runs really good routes. He's ready for it.
He
He's
gets
always
open.
open.
Yep.
So like it's hard because like I want to lean towards like Gibbs just because like they're so good at producing like running backs who
Yeah.
play well. Like every year,
Yep.
Alabama sends out a really good running back. I haven't even watched him play, but just because he's ranked highly and because he's from Alabama, I'm like, yeah, probably. Like,
Yeah. Right.
which is why at that point you're almost waiting like to see what like situation these guys end up.
Yeah.
in.
Yeah. Where do they get
Like,
drafted? Anybody else get first round capital
because-
besides Bijan? You know?
because like first off, I'd be very confused. But like, what if the Colts draft one of these guys? I don't want them.
No, kill
Like,
me,
I
please.
don't-
Do not put that into the air either, dude. They need a quarterback. They need
Yeah.
offensive line. They need D-backs. Like, they need everything but that.
Yeah, and like part of me hopes that Tank Bigsby is the one with the best situation because I love the name. Like,
Yeah, dude,
this
right.
is not even the player.
Right.
I just
Did you
want
go draft
I want a running
Tank?
back
Like,
named
come
Tank.
on,
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
Like, yeah, you can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, I think I would lean towards. Yeah, Gibbs seems like he's someone who can last.
Yeah.
He's from like just based on like size, injury history.
Yeah. Or what if Gibbs is gone? Right? What if Gibbs is gone?
I
101
might
and
pivot to wide
102.
receiver though,
Wide
and that's
receiver?
because
Okay.
that has to do with my team makeup.
Sure.
Like I have Hall, Etienne, and Dobbins, and I
that
know
you don't
Dobbins.
need.
Yeah, like I would love another running back because they get hurt a lot,
Yeah.
but I'm not gonna like
Reach.
unless there's a good situation and a good player, I'm not gonna reach for that because I'm really high on a lot of the wide receivers. I know it's not a wide receiver class,
But there's still good
you
ones
say
at
that
the
like
top.
Njigba Smith had his worst year ever. He was like a great wide receiver with Olave and Wilson on his team.
Yeah.
Like as like a 19-year-old.
Dude,
Like,
I'm
at
telling you
some
right
point,
now, that dude's my that dude's my number one wide receiver.
Yeah.
Unless he
like,
ends up in like the Titans or something stupid like that, or buried on the depth chart. Like that guy's my number one. I'm taking him.
Yeah, and Addison's looked great. I don't know. I think I would think I would die if I took two USC wide receivers back like in a row. Like,
fight on, dude. Come on. Yeah,
Like,
fight on,
it hurt-
baby.
it hurt
Wide
me to
receiver,
take
you, baby.
Yeah. I like honestly, Corum looks really well.
Yeah.
I mean, part of the problem with him is Michigan just like is
Dude,
so good.
their
It's
offensive
like,
line is a beast.
yeah.
Bro,
like-
Donovan
seen him
Edwards was
run?
crushing it.
Have
Yeah,
you
he
seen
runs
Corum
great.
run?
Yeah.
His thighs are
I
huge.
haven't watched a lot of Michigan games.
Yeah.
I have
I
not
do.
watched a lot.
I told my dad before he was like evaluated high. I'm like, this guy is someone that I want. I would get him. Like,
So that's why
earlier
I
this
started
year.
mentioning that name. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But
It's-
okay, so imagine like Zach Charbonnet played at Michigan. He was ahead of that, and now he's at UCLA, right? Like,
Yeah.
how do you feel about him? Have you watched anything from him? I really like him. I think
Yeah.
he would probably be like my third back, notwithstanding draft position.
He's good. Don't get me wrong, but he really benefits from DTR. Like
True.
DT,
Wow, yeah.
he had the best runs of
Yeah.
UCLA last year at quarterback.
Yeah.
And I'm not. And Pac-12 ain't what it used to be.
No,
like
it's
I'm
not.
sorry. It's
Listen,
not what it used
if you can't broadcast your games in HD, you're not what
Yeah.
you used to be. All right, come on.
to be.
So
Exactly. And yeah, like when DTR is like the better runner, like he
Yeah.
had the highlight runner. Because honestly, like that's what I kind of always gravitate to when I'm looking at college players. And I know that sounds dumb. Like, what do you mean?
No.
You're just looking at their good plays.
can you do
But
it?
like everyone's so fucking fast. You got to find the guy who can make the fast people like look slow at every level, sort of thing.
Right.
Like, yeah, just watch Jonathan Taylor's highlights. What do you see? See a big guy who's faster than fucking everyone else.
Yep.
He makes good decisions.
Yep.
That's why he's good in the NFL.
Yep.
Like, that's why all his highlight plays were like one cut and then burned everyone.
Boom, gone.
Like,
Yep.
that's why he was good. And then, like, you see these guys who are men on boys, like, everyone's an NFL size level.
Derrick Henry.
Like, they are. Like,
Derrick Henry stands out, things like that. Who stands out? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because, like, shit, you go play D2 football. I think you said Borchops did that.
Yeah.
Right?
Michigan Tech. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Michigan Tech. Yeah. But you can ask him. I'm for sure he played against a shit ton of 300-pound offensive linemen at D2.
Yep.
Like, they're all that size. Like, you're not special because you're 310 pounds. They're all fucking
everybody's that. Now, how are you going to be better than them? And I think that's why I lean JSN, because he's got that technique for receiver. He runs good routes. He gets open. Like, he might not have that raw athletic potential, but again, coming from Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, he's smooth. He gets open. He's smart. He finds the seams in the defense. He sits in the zones. Like, he just does what he's supposed to do as a receiver, and that's what starts to set you apart when you're looking at, what receiver is going to go first. So is it the raw talent of Quentin Johnson, and is he willing to learn to become that route runner, or is he going to be? I mean, I hesitate to use DK Metcalf because the
Evan White.
Yeah, dude, right? Like, is he just going to be that? I run a go and that's it. Like, that's not what you want from a first round pick or a top 10 wide receiver, number 3 overall. So we have 2 minutes again here. Just letting you guys know, it's like half an hour, I think, whatever. So it's stupid. But yeah, I mean, I think the draft, especially like draft position and draft capital, is going to be really interesting to see what decisions people have to make. And I know that you hold a lot of the cards with your picks. So I'm interested to see how it works out and what you decide to do, because I think you're pretty set at running backs. Like, you're right. Yeah. What do you think of the quarterbacks? Would you look at one of the quarterbacks if Bryce Young goes to the Texans or Stroud goes to the Lions?
I want my athletic quarterback. Yeah. I mean,
you got Fields. Yeah, you got Fields. Done.
Yeah, you don't need that. Yeah.
Like, Bryce Young is like a little bit more of that stereotypical pocket passer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, he could be great, but like, you need to find Joe Burrow in order to pick a pocket passer. It has to be like a slam dunk. Like, this dude is going to be the best. Right. Like, if not, I want a guy who can run, because don't get me wrong.
The high upside
guy. Yeah, like, if he's a rookie, unless he's like a slam dunk, I want him to run, which is why I'm so big on Fields. It's amazing finding Justin Fields backup.
Yep.
Like, I literally, like, that's why. Fuck, what did I spend on him on our first draft? Like, when he was a rookie before he played,
he's gonna cut out.
Spent like $20 on him.
Right. Yeah. Hey, hang on 1 second. I'll send you the next link.
We gotta be almost done with this, by the way.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Welcome back. Yeah, I think we'll use like Discord or something next time, because we can do a video call on that, and it's just like a chat room. It's like Slack basically, and it's free, and I have a Discord server set up and stuff like that. So we'll just use that next time.
Well, like I said, hopefully we won't do a whole season, so this should be the longest one ever.
Dude, honestly, yes, but
I don't know about you, Brad. Jacqueline went to bed a while ago, so like,
I don't know. Yeah, I'm falling asleep right here now. I'm like,
come on. So
yeah, you're right. It's just because we're talking about the draft, and I was like, kind of like,
zoned
out. It's not exciting for me. I'm like, I'm not even drafting, so like, why don't
Right.
Yeah, it's hard. It's not too late. You can still make off-season
trades. You can still get trades. Yeah. Dude, I'll tell you what. I'll give you a first round pick, and I don't have a first round pick that I can give up. I got nothing for you.
Yeah,
Jamar Chase, dude. I'll give you the 101 for Chase, the 101 for Jamar.
I like my team.
Bijan for Jamar, baby.
What sucks for you, Brad, is you look at your team and you're like, I don't want any of these other people. Right. Like, why the fuck didn't I win?
Yeah, I don't think he needs anybody. I don't think that there's people out there that like would make a move. Like, Brad doesn't need anybody else. Like, his team should win. It's just the numbers didn't add up this time. It should. Underachievers.
So,
couldn't happen to a better guy.
Why try to fix that? Could just make it worse. So my team's fine.
You could easily have 2 losses next year. Like, no problem.
So
The net. Okay, so way too early draft thoughts. Well, maybe we'll do one before the draft.
Yeah, I'll be
Just
honest. I thought that was the original plan instead of this. It's just to do it like right
yeah,
before the draft.
yeah. Well,
Honestly, maybe that
it
one we try
was.
live.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that'd be cool. It was. So Joe actually mentioned that Knox, Indiana, is equidistant between Wisconsin guys, Brad, and the Michigan guys. And there's an Airbnb there for $900 a night that has 12 people. It's on a lake. It's got a hot tub and a pool, and it's a freaking mansion.
wow, you really looked into this. Wow.
He
That's
threw
crazy.
out, dude, why don't we do a boys' weekend, do our draft, drink some beers, hang out, and get away for the weekend.
I'm not.
I mean, that sounds fun.
I mean,
Not
I wouldn't hate
up.
that, right? I would
How
not
much is
hate
that?
that at all.
How much is that a man?
It'd be $90 a person per night.
Yeah, that's
So you do a weekend,
How far of a
maybe
drive is it?
3 nights. I think it's like 5.5 hours for everybody,
Okay.
but it's centrally located to all of us.
yeah, and you could go
So-
in groups. Brad's the only one who has to suffer and go alone.
Yeah.
Everyone else can carpool.
Yeah.
Listen, Brad could ball out and buy a fucking plane ticket or something, dude.
Yeah.
I don't think there's airports in Knox, Indiana. I've
Probably
never
not,
heard that
dude.
town.
Honestly, no, it's like a beautiful lake town. I was looking at like
Yeah.
the Google map
Well,
for it, and I'm just like,
you can get a-
Jesus.
If you can get flight to and out of Indianapolis, you could just whoever's going through Indianapolis
Yeah,
grabs
pick
you
you
and
up.
keep going.
I fly to Chicago and just wait at O'Hare. You'll pick me up, right, Johan?
Yeah, I would. Like, yeah, that works for me. Like,
Right.
yeah,
Midway or something.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
Dude,
funny.
that'd be sweet. Like, I mean, Joe and I'd probably ride together, roll
Yeah.
down
Yeah.
there. So the rule
Jimmy's
is
around there somewhere.
champion gets the master suite. I would say that. That's
Yeah.
that's all I want. So,
All right.
We'll
Let's
have to
go back.
plan this more in advance, but
Yeah,
you
he-
guys are
yeah,
already
he-
at
he
the
mentioned
PTO.
that.
It's already too late.
yeah. So he mentioned that. I think the draft. I want to do. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the draft, like the rookie draft. I was thinking instead of doing it live like we did with the pauses, maybe we do like a 24-hour in between pick draft. That might be a little bit too long, but you can make it whenever. But that'll give time for people to negotiate, and then
Yeah,
we're not
well-
good.
Yeah, I was gonna say the problem with giving people too much time is then they take it. Like
Yeah.
for example, like, and there was some miscommunication, and I get that people were thinking like, oh, the whole point is I don't have to research until it's my pick. And then like some of us were coming in like we already did our work. We're like, all right, let's see what everyone else has, and they're like, oh,
Right.
now it starts that we get to pick.
Yeah.
I've heard through the grapevine that certain individuals in the draft may have been incredibly inebriated when it happened, and this is neither here nor there.
I don't think anybody
so-
made egregious picks in the draft.
No,
Yeah,
they
I think they were
didn't,
all pretty
but
good.
I think we forced some though, because like,
Um,
did we force some?
I know
Did
I
my
drafted
dad
for Joe.
lost his phone. He has phone stolen or
Joe
something.
Joe got his phone stolen,
Yeah.
so
Oh.
I was forcing the
Yeah.
drafts for him,
Okay.
Yeah.
and
But I
that
think
was
it-
it. I drafted
it's
good,
just
dude.
people-
I drafted real good
Yeah.
for Joe too. Garrett
I
Wilson.
think he got it stolen from a golf, like a driving range or something.
Yeah, driving
He put
range.
it down, and someone took it. Bought it from his bag. I don't really remember, but
I
yeah.
just remember we're all sitting on the horn waiting for him, and
Mhm.
he's not picking up. Your mom wasn't picking up, and I'm just like, dude, hello. Joe, Renee finally picks up and is like, he lost his phone. He can't find it. You hear him like freaking out in the background. And I'm
Mhm.
like, I got you. Do you trust me? He said, yeah. So I made the picks for him. And then he traded all the freaking players away anyway. So whatever. I had a great draft for him. There's no love. There's no love. So, yeah, I think that'd be cool to do the draft in person, whether it's on Airbnb or whether we like get together. I don't know, whether you're home or at the time or something like that. But, we can figure it out, or at two places, get on some computers and just bullshit or whatever.
Yeah, I just think we need to start planning it like beginning
Like
of
for
the
next
year.
year,
I
yeah.
need 6 months in advance to request any time off. So it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, so we'll look at it for next year. Not this coming up draft, but the next draft. I think that'd be a really good time. Yeah, so I'll look at some options for how to make it faster, but also give some time for people to negotiate for picks. Because I don't know. Maybe people are going to throw picks out for mine. Maybe they're going to throw them out for the 103. I don't know.
I mean,
throw some
something,
offers out.
and I'm presuming this is stuff that if you do cut this up, this is getting cut out because this is definitely in the bullshit territory.
Yeah.
Like you could make it just like everyone has to get onto the same call, whether Discord or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And then that way it's like active, like, we're
We're
making comments
talking.
in
Yeah.
the Han about stuff. And then if someone's like, hey, like, my eighth pick is up next and someone's on the board that's you didn't think would be on the board. And
Yeah.
you're like, hey, sidebar,
Yeah.
like, like
Let's jump in a
catch a
different
phone,
channel
catch a
real
phone.
quick. Yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, yeah, because
How do
like you
these
want to make
trades
sure
even work though? Like, how do you
you just
how
trade
Do Yeah,
players
you
to
just do them
draft.
during the draft. Yeah.
It like
do
reopen.
what?
So
Trade the
like
pick.
if
Actual
yeah,
trades, like trade players for picks and stuff like that,
yeah,
or
yeah,
Yeah.
you
I
can
want to
make
oh
move
those
up 2
trades.
spots or move down or
Yeah,
whatever. Yeah.
oh, so
yeah,
if you're up at 1-on-1 and I was like, hey, I'll give you Chase right now for get that pick, like that's something that could
You could do
happen.
that.
Is what
Yeah.
oh,
yeah,
I didn't understand what you guys were saying. Okay.
Yeah. 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 So yeah, you could
yeah.
trade back into the first round or whatever. Yeah. If you want Bijan, give up
So I should
Chase.
pay attention to
A
the
little bit.
draft.
Yeah, a little bit. Because you never know. Maybe you ship Kelsey off for a couple picks or
Yeah,
whatever, or ship somebody off
yeah.
and get a couple
Yeah.
picks. So
And
yeah,
you
Okay.
can
it's
get
an
real
option.
freaky with sleeper three-way trades.
Oh yeah, dude, I tried to make it happen too. I did. I was giving up Mahomes, getting Hurts. I was trying to get somebody's first rounder. Dude, yeah, it was getting sloppy. It really
Okay.
was. So it was. But it's easy if you can finalize it like in Discord
Yeah,
or something, and
yeah,
then you have it like written down, or even if it like you can't get it right in the system, like I can always adjust it, right?
yeah.
So I can take care of that. Um, yeah, so we have the comment of F the AARP for giving Tommy the #1 overall. I think we've discussed that already. Uh, any further comments on
No,
that?
pretty much sums it up.
Satisfied?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the rich get
like,
richer. Trophy
yeah.
and Bijan.
All
Like
these boomers are fucking it up for us. Sounds about right.
honestly, dude, you can't do anything right. And then I have some possible rule changes for the league. So we're going to do a vote in the off season, and I'm putting together a Google form to submit to the league, and I want everybody to vote on it and vote with your heart. Like, you're not going to offend anybody, but there have been some suggestions for rule changes that I want to bring up in the off season. The first one is the last place finisher pays for the trophy engraving and the shipping for the winner. It's like the engraving is like $11, and then shipping is who knows. I mean, it's gonna stay with me, so it's not going far. But like that was kind of a way. Everybody has their last place finisher punishments or whatever. I feel like that's a way to maybe discourage tanking a little bit, but also it's not like backbreaking. It's probably $20 on top of what you would normally pay, and that way it's not coming out of the shipping, and the engraving isn't coming out of the league dues every year. Any thoughts on that? Does that sound
Yeah,
unreasonable?
that's good. Like you said, I don't think that's gonna I don't think that would have changed me from trying to tank this year, but it's
No,
at least
no.
Yeah.
something more to be like it makes it like a tanking tax
Yeah.
almost. Like,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
you tank, if you think that's the
Well,
move, you make that move, but
Yeah.
you do have to do more for it.
Yeah.
but also your draft position is based on how you finish the regular season, but is this
Correct.
based on that or based on how you finish the very, very end
It would
after
be
the
based.
playoffs?
It would be based on the finishing of the regular season.
Okay, so the playoffs don't matter for
No,
the loser bowl.
the toilet bowl doesn't matter. No, it puts
Okay.
a little shit emoji by your name. That's all
I
it does.
I feel like it would almost be better to make it like the loser of the toilet bowl though,
That's what I was.
because
That's what I was
Okay.
wanted to do.
yeah,
I think that then you can still tank, and then you can like, oh shit, I have to try and beat these bad teams to beat each other,
True.
and then you
I gotta
actually like
win.
really have to like
yeah,
win,
Okay.
and
yeah,
you're invested, right? As opposed to me just sitting there and not even. I couldn't even set a lineup. It wouldn't matter, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
now
I
I
guess
feel like I want it to
now it
matter.
matters. Yeah. Now it
Yeah.
matters. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. We'll put that up for proposal. I like that a lot. That makes a lot of sense. It makes the toilet bowl a little bit more valuable.
Mhm.
Okay. That sounds good. Cool. Yeah, so I'll put that up. Hopefully everybody. I know that Joe agrees. Marianne agrees. I think we'll see how everybody goes. And I don't know if it's going to be like majority rules and implements the rule, or if it's got to be some type
I
of
think
consensus. But really, it's just going to be like I'm getting feedback, and if it's like 8-2, maybe I hit those 2 up and find out
yeah,
what I could do to change it and make it negotiations. Because really, it's about bettering the league as a whole. So the second one, expanding the injured reserve from like 2 to 4 or 5. We have really deep benches plus the taxi squad. I think that we should have a couple more IR slots. That doesn't seem
ah,
egregious.
I don't know
I'm
actually.
hesitant. Yeah, like 'cause
Really?
the benches being deep doesn't make me think we need more IR spots.
Okay.
It's like you've got so many spaces already.
Okay.
Like you really need more spaces if people get hurt. Because I mean, people are gonna get hurt every year, but
Yeah.
that's what the two
Yeah.
IR spots are for. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like that's like I feel like if we were like keep the taxi squad the same,
Mhm.
up the IR spots and decrease the bench spots, that I'm way
Mhm.
more down with because that would make more people available on waivers that people are going to be looking to every week.
Sure.
But I
Okay.
wouldn't want to leave the other two the exact same and add more IR
And add
spots
more.
because like
Yeah.
you go on the waivers and it's just defenses and kickers. Like there's
It
not
is,
one
yeah.
like like that's what
Okay.
it is right now. So
Okay.
if you were trying to make it so like you're trying to save people from getting like screwed because they're getting a bunch of people injured, that's fine. Up the
Mhm.
IR spots, but then you decrease the bench so
Yeah.
people actually have to like, drop people that they
Yeah,
don't
that
think
could
are
be
healthy.
valuable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can
Yeah.
Okay.
I rebuttal? Like, what about just adding it to three and then
Sure.
including suspended players and you just kind of like meet in the middle? Like, what's
I
just
don't
the
I don't know if I like the added suspending players though.
well,
Okay.
I
Because
would
like,
because Kelvin Ridley's been on my bench for a year and a half. Okay, I
Yeah.
don't
Right,
know what to
dude.
do with the guy,
yeah.
You start him next year,
Yeah.
dude. Trevor Lawrence's
but he's
number
now
one
he's back.
target.
I just was,
Yeah.
I mean, the suspended players on IR, I don't necessarily know if they belong there. I would have benefited from it personally, but going
Yeah.
next year, it won't matter to me. So I'm like, I don't really think if they belong there.
Yeah.
I
If you
mean
really
like
want my opinion,
I get it. It's we're playing fantasy football. Like what
Yeah.
we do has zero impact on these players in real life.
Right.
But something about just being like, oh, that guy tore his ACL. That guy, had a bunch of masseuses jacked off.
Sexually
Like,
assaulted 30 plus women, put them in the
yeah,
same room. Yeah.
like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
just like, I don't know. It's just, I know it doesn't matter. Like, it really, literally matters to no one. I just don't like how that sounds.
That's fair.
Like,
That's why I'll bring it up to a vote because that was the next one. Should we put suspended players on IR?
yeah,
And I think that one's going to be probably the closest in voting because it sounds like we all have different opinions for it, and it's not just what benefits you. It's what do you think is right for the league, right? So you got to look at it altruistically. You can't just say,
yeah.
"Well, I have Calvin Ridley, and I want an extra bench spot."
Yep.
Brad.
But then the thing is, like, it won't even matter to me next year. You
No,
know, like,
it
I
won't,
could never
yeah.
have a suspended player ever again.
Right, and
I don't
Deshaun
know.
Watson's back, so like that doesn't matter because is it Fear that has Deshaun? He was the one that
yeah,
brought it up originally. So that's why I
Yeah.
added it to the list. I was like, well, we'll bring it up in the offseason and see what
yeah,
people think. So we'll ask. We'll see what happens
And
with it.
I almost feel like we have too many spots on our bench, and I
Yeah.
mean that because like you feel like the waiver wire is so bare. It's like there's literally nobody. But I feel like as the years progress, as long as we're not expanding it at a proportional rate as what you're drafting, it's the waiver wire pool should get better,
It will.
in theory.
people are retiring and people
Yeah.
are like falling out of relevance.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. It churns. It churns. But there's also going to be rookies that we didn't pay attention to that finally get their chance. Zonovan Knight, for example, dude, he came out of freaking nowhere. But Brees Hall goes down, Michael Carter doesn't play, James Robinson's watching anime or whatever, and all of a sudden Zonovan Knight's starting, and it's like, okay, I picked him up, and I have a 12-point running back now. Like, there are some opportunities out there, and hopefully they come up a little more. But I like maybe shifting a bench spot to IR so that some people have to get dropped a little bit more. I'll word it. I'll consult an attorney and word it well so that it's very clear as to what we're voting on. What else I put? I have if you trade away your first round pick, you have to pay that year's dues. So if you trade away your 25 first round pick, you have to pay for your team's dues for that year for 25. And really you won't owe anything in 25. But what that does is, what I've seen people say is that it helps if for some reason you leave the league, somebody has to take over your team with a missing valuable asset, and you're probably not leaving the league with a good team or a great team. Okay. So what is the incentive for an owner to take over a team and pay money for that doesn't necessarily have a competing chance for a while? So you're basically free rolling that new owner for that year into the team.
I would like it with the caveat of once you have no draft picks in a year, because like we're trading away draft picks all over the place, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if you don't have your draft pick, just as long as you have a draft
A
pick.
first round. Okay, yeah, you do a first round pick swap or something like that. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, once you don't have a first round pick, you pay for that year. Okay, yeah, I'll word it that way. One thing that I had been thinking about, but I didn't put in the notes, was how do you feel about getting rid of kickers and adding a flex spot?
I'm gonna double up on that and say, can we get rid of kickers and defense and add a flex spot?
So don't get
F
me
both of
started
them.
down this, dude. Don't get me started this, because my thought was, what if we added one IDP player instead of a defense? And instead of drafting all over again, you just, whatever defenses you have, you can pick one defensive player for that spot.
Too much work.
I know, right?
I would just say,
Much work.
like, we all have fab at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Like, just make it hey, first week of waiver, have a waiver like before the first game. Be like, all right, how much fab is your defensive player worth to you?
Ooh, baby.
Because that puts work is very minimal.
Yeah.
The interest level is going to be super high. Everyone's going to be freaking out because someone's going to drop like 70 for someone the next place dropped like 2 for. Like,
right.
And then there's going to be people dropping 50, and then like someone dropped 100 on someone.
Dude, right? So the only reason I thought of whatever defenses you have, you can pick one player from. And I would, like, you message me the player and I'll assign it to the team. Like, I would do it that way. The only reason I did that is, like, we all drafted defenses. We've made defensive waiver moves. And we've kind of, like, I know I'm invested in my defense. I have the Chargers defense, which, they freaking blow this year, but, like, they have Khalil Mack. They have dudes that, like, Bosa. Like, they have dudes that should perform, and I kept them for a reason. And, like, Dallas is my starting defense. I would love to have Micah Parsons, and I'm sure everybody has a defensive stud on their team defense that they would be happy with from one of the three things even if the defense is shitty, they have at least one good player. And that would just make it easy enough to do that.
Yeah, and from an ease standpoint, and if that's how we want to do it, that's like I would do that.
Okay.
But it's kind of like, I would, a lot of people just switch defenses every week just because to play the match.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to think, if the Carolina Panthers are playing the Houston Texans, I might pick up the Carolina Panthers.
The Carolina
defense.
D, or
they've got people I could start, but
right.
like I don't actively want to go get Carolina Panthers defensive players.
Right. You kind of open a can of worms asking this question, Brad, because when I think IDP, it's like, okay, now we have to expand the bench spots more because you have to have defensive players to swap in. It doubles the player pool. But
also, like, my one thing about not adding a flex spot is because, like I said earlier, like, the waiver wire is already bare. Like, if we're adding another flex spot, like, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Like, the teams that have depth and are good teams are just going to win by more, and teams that don't are going to lose by more. Like, that's all we're doing.
Or you could, I was thinking about somebody to draft, but
those good teams, right? Like, if you have a good team, like, like I like to think I do, or you, Tommy, like, you actually bench players that are startable players, right?
Yeah,
but
for sure.
When you advance, when you expand the pool, like, now you're just giving yourself more of an advantage as opposed to having to make a decision on who you think you should start based on the matchup.
Yeah.
So that's the only downside, I think. And it's hard doing that after you've already started a league. Like, it's hard to do that after the fact. I
think adding, like, a regular flex spot would be a little bit easier than doing, like, a super flex where you can start 2 quarterbacks and we'd have a draft. We're not doing that. We're not doing that, dude. No.
Wasn't even an option in my mind. Yeah.
No. But my thing was, like, with the kickers, they either all score about the same, or you have one guy go off for like 23 points and win the week because of it. And it's way too volatile, and there is no I feel like there's very minimal skill in selecting a kicker. And
why not just dump the kicker, just do no kickers, and just
no kicker.
That's just get rid of the kickers and just keep our same lineups minus the kicker.
Or what you could probably also do as well, or maybe we could do, is drop the kickers, say in 1 or 2 years, whatever we decide, your defense you have turns into an IDP and you pick one. So people have time to maybe make adjustments, try to figure out like what they're going
That's
for.
fair.
There's still time for things to change violently, like, players to move and all that.
Sure.
So, it just gives, and then like I said, Fab becomes more involved then too, because maybe you have a defensive player you love,
Yeah.
but yeah, and that all just starts. So it just gives
Yeah.
everyone a chance to try to make the most out of it instead
I
of
like
just
that.
being like, oh, what you have is what you have. Because
I like that.
I've got the Saints. So there's
Mhm.
Demario Davis, there's Marquette
Marshawn
Lattimore,
Lattimore, yeah.
yeah, and then I've got the Buccaneers defense. I'm way too big of
Studs.
a fan of like Vita Vea, Shaq
Oh
Barnett,
God, I love him.
Devin White, but like if you're asking me in an IDP draft, am I focusing on any of those guys? I'm like, no,
No.
there's like, yeah, so that's like a hard situation because those like the Buccaneers, like the Saints I have because matchup. The Buccaneers, it was like they're not a bad defense. That doesn't mean there's
Right.
like an IDP guy I really want. Like I love the players.
Yeah.
I am a borderline Levante David dick sucker,
Oh my
but like,
God, he's so awesome.
yeah, but like that doesn't mean that I'm gonna be like, oh, in fantasy, that's definitely the move. That's definitely not the move.
Right.
Like,
Right. So, and then my
Okay.
next question with that is, I've never scored IDP. Like,
I mean, neither. Yeah.
I don't know what I would put for it. I'd probably just use default settings. I don't know how it would skew the league. Would it be about putting up the same amount of points as a regular defense starting? Like, is there adding value to that at that point?
From my understanding, it's very much like it's just like having a very touchdown dependent player because like you'll get points from like tackles and all that
Sacks,
stuff.
tackles
But
for loss, interceptions. Yeah.
yeah, but the sacks and the interceptions, those are what that's like scoring the touchdown,
Okay.
because like who leads the NFL in interceptions? They're probably at like it's like
Trevin
10
Diggs.
would be ridiculous. No one's got
Yeah.
10 interceptions in a league, sort of thing. So like one of those is usually worth like pretty sure they score at like 6 points.
Oh my God,
And
that's
so,
insane.
yeah,
Okay.
well, because like no one's like I said, I think records what Ronnie Lott that one year, I think. And I don't even know, but I think the record is like 11, like in a
That's
year,
crazy.
like all time. And like whatever running back 12 is going to have that many touchdowns this year.
Yeah.
So it's like one of those things where it's just a bunch of home run hitters,
Right.
which and then I'm pretty sure most people do like sacks is like half that because those happen more often. And
Sure.
then like passes defense are similar to sacks. And then
Okay.
like tackles are like half a point and tackles for loss are like a point.
It opens up a lot of questions that I don't think I'm ready to answer yet about that. There's just a ton.
But it does make it so
involved.
the reason why I'm a lot more okay with that is because there is a lot more skill. Like for instance,
Sure.
DJ Watt. Don't get me wrong, I'm biased, but
Stud.
like that's obviously going to be like the number one because he's going to get sacks, he's going to get tackles, he's going to get TFLs, he's going to get interceptions, he's going to get passes.
Probably going to get touchdowns, dude. Like,
yeah. Anytime there's a situation where there's like a clear number one, then all of a sudden I lean towards that's probably something that's skill based because if we can all come to agreement that one person's better than the others, which you can't with kickers, like you argue about what team's going to score the most points and then you hope they kick some field goals, not just extra points.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, you're going to argue about who's the best kicker until kingdom comes. Like versus defensive players, like there's definitely tiers, and there's like this guy looks better than this guy because of this that he's done.
Yeah.
So that makes me like, there's skill involved now.
Yeah, I'll put some feelers out and see what people think of that because it might be too much for some people that just don't want to invest the time in studying defensive players now. Because you're going to throw in 350 more players at that point, and it adds a whole nother layer.
That's skill gap that I don't know if our league's ready for.
Right. Let's get some people responded to trades and messages first. All right.
Yes.
Let's get some of that settled. So those were my thoughts. I do like the suggestion of just completely getting rid of the kicker. I would like to add another flex in because I like having a little bit more more starters, more points on
I like,
and I see that
suffering.
I see that though, but please, you got to look at it from the lens of someone who's got a team full of nobody that's injured.
I was actually, I was going through like Borchop's roster, Johan's roster, Joe's roster.
You're going to see people that are favoring it are going to be with no depth, and then you're favoring it because your team is stacked. I mean, I would favor it, but I'm trying to have a voice for those that don't have a balanced team. Deep.
A voice.
But nothing is better than seeing your opponent leave 30 points with one player on the bench. Let's not get rid of that. Let's keep that in there.
Right.
Just like You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I would be
there's a lot to
down.
be loved there.
I would be down with taking a look at eliminating kickers just
Mhm.
completely from it. I think that's a good
I mean, because
idea.
your argument was that like they just were a wash,
They're
and like if they're
volatile,
a
dude.
wash, then
Yeah.
just get rid of them. You
Yeah,
know, you
they're
don't got to
all put up
replace it.
8 points. They put up 2. I had my guy put up -1 because he missed an extra point. That was his only opportunity. That was cool. Like,
There's no kicker in the
he's
league
also
that
put up
is like
22. Like,
whoever has what's his name from Baltimore is like the only person who I'd be like I don't want to get rid of this guy. You know, like
yeah,
he is elite. You know,
yeah.
like
It's like
but
Adam
this year he's not
Vinatieri.
even. I don't even know like what he is this year, but he's nothing special this year because the
No.
team didn't do well, and that affects him,
Yep.
which I don't like. And like I get that
yeah,
to some extent, that happens to everyone,
Mhm.
but like it's
yeah.
much more predictable. Like he
Harrison
literally can't.
Butker.
Yeah.
No, that dude's he was from Kansas City,
So-
wasn't he?
So
we
I'm
got
saying just another example. I'm saying of a guy who was like always a top kicker and literally was dropped and picked up like 4 times this season.
Yep.
You know, it's like
so we
it could
got
be anybody.
Jason Myers is leading right now, 120 points. Nick Folk,
Seahawks
Greg
kicker.
Zerline. Yeah, Seahawks kicker, New England kicker, the Jets kicker, Houston's kicker, Carolina, Tampa Bay, McLaughlin, which is crazy. Chase McLaughlin for Indianapolis. He started week 3 because Indy had muscles glasses, and that dude
Blankenship.
he couldn't hit a fucking side of a barn standing
He
inside.
needed
of
a
it.
new prescription.
He did, dude. Ryan Suckup, McManus, Sanders. Yeah,
Yeah.
like Matt Gay. Matt Gay was on a roster for like 2 years. Drafted by Marianne for $1, waived November 8th because the Rams offense sucks.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do with that? So, yeah, even like Mason Crosby, perennially good, 69 points this year because their offense is terrible. 1 point 10 points, 2, 9, 10, 3, 3, 4, 3, 6, 2, 8, 8. Like,
Yeah.
who gives a shit? That, yeah, I don't know. I would be okay with taking a look at removing kickers completely.
Yeah.
I'd be fine with that. Yeah, that'd be fine. And then I think that was all I put down for the rule changes that I've been thinking about. Do you guys have anything that have been lingering that you wanted to bring up?
No, I mean, I did want to bring up like something for keeping people who are in the toilet bowl more engaged. But if we have the engraving thing, that fixes that
I
problem.
think that's a good idea for it. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah, the one thing I'll say if we do this again, time limit. Like it's good talking to you guys and all that. If we want to do this more than
it's
once
midnight here. It's 12:30. Like,
if I do something this long once a year, I'm pretty sure Jackson would kill me, let alone once a week.
I agree, dude. I agree. So yeah, I think like half an hour to 45 minutes, and if we're doing it once a week, like we're not gonna be yapping like this. I mean, we're going to be talking every week. We'll text beforehand. We'll kind of get an idea. We'll get more into a flow. We'll practice. This is going to be, dude, it's going to be sweet. It's going to be cool. I think it's going to be cool. We're at 2 hours and 6 minutes.
Oh my God.
Dude, right?
You always like, now I'm just like curious. Like we're talking about some of the
dumbest shit
timer.
Yeah,
we are not doing another like this.
No, we'll do Discord next time. I'll get you an invite to my Discord and we'll take care of it.
You ever listen to a podcast that's gone like less than an hour long and you're like, oh my God, I could never do that. Like that is so ridiculous. And now I'm like, holy shit, it's the easiest.
It's easy, dude. Honestly, I love podcasts that are like 2.5, 3 hours long because I can listen to them in like bunches, and I feel like it gives a little bit more opportunity to go more in depth with some things that I really like sometimes have more questions about or want to hear more about. But yeah, once we start doing the weeklies, I think it's like half hour, 40 minutes tops. Like there's not going to be a lot going on. We'll talk a little shit. We'll look at the standings. If somebody makes a trade, we'll blow them up on here. And
you also got to think that you want league involvement with this by getting people to watch it.
Yeah.
You want to make it something digestible and not something like, because that's
dude. They're gonna sit here and watch us for 2 hours. Come on, dude. Listen to the boys. To timestamps. Yeah, let me fucking mark that up real quick.
Pretty much.
So
hey, before we go, can I read you guys my underdog team?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Because I got into 8 this year.
Okay, hey, can you pull it up on your PC? Can you share your screen with us so we can have it? Come on, dude.
I can send it to you.
That's
via text.
No, I want to do it, dude. No.
Can you not share your screen?
Yeah, share your screen.
No, because it's Laura's computer. It's not that easy. Like I don't.
Log into
Can't
the
you just
website.
Alt
Wait, I can
S?
send it to. I'll send it to Laura. Hold on, and then I'll pull it up on the iMessage here.
Oh,
Don't you,
you're
don't you
saying
just
that
go
she
to
doesn't
like
have access to it. You can share your screen. She doesn't have. Okay, now I see it. Now I see
Like
it.
it's
no,
not.
just
Hold on.
underdog.com.
I don't know how to. I don't know my login.
So he can. He just doesn't know how. That's
All
fine.
right, just relax,
Yeah,
guys.
it
Relax.
runs in
Okay,
the
I
runs in the
figured it out.
family, dude.
Shut up. Relax.
Boomers run
Wait,
through his blood.
how do I maximize this thing?
working?
How do I maximize this thing?
I have no
Open?
idea what you're trying to do.
I'm
Oh,
sorry,
here we
you're
go.
having trouble. Okay, I was gonna
All right,
say you're having
so
trouble
make sure you
maximizing
share
like
your
that?
screen to the Zoom so that we can see it, because that way I don't have
All
to
right.
like type it up or do.
Host disabled it.
Come on, dude.
Huh.
You disable shit.
Huh.
No.
You did.
All right, try it now.
Okay.
There we go. All right. So we got Justin Herbert, we got Tua, we got Deshaun. Now this is best ball, right?
Yeah. So you can see it now. Is it good?
Yeah.
You?
Herbert, Tua, Deshaun, Jonathan Taylor, Nick Chubb, Pacheco. I love Pacheco so much. Khalil Herbert, Josh Kelly,
Okay.
Reek, Amon Ra, dude.
This
Hop.
team was first place in my first 14 rounds. I'm sure you guys know how underdog works. It's like 14
It's
weeks.
best
Oh,
ball. Yeah.
Best ball.
Yep.
This round is 10 teams, and number one makes it through. Last year, I got second place in this round
Okay.
by 2 points. Barely missed out on the next round.
Wow.
So the payouts go up exponentially if you
Sure.
can make it out of this round into the next one.
I think it really sucks the week, like the teams that these guys are playing this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you what though, a lot of the guys that are in my league, I looked at their teams. They got guys like Lamar. They got guys like Ramondre. People like a lot of people that are like just came off of injuries.
Yeah.
And like now I can't think of all the players, but like let me just pull up one of these guys. I can just look at their team. Like Lamar, Malik Willis, and Trevor Lawrence. Like so, like basically, if Trevor Lawrence doesn't have a good game, this guy can't make it out of this round. He's got
Right.
Travis Etienne. These guys got Travis Etienne on their team. You know, they skated by from those good couple
They
weeks.
stacked.
But
Yeah.
now they don't have a team. Elijah Mitchell, Ramondre Stevenson, Rashad White, TDP. That's another guy's running backs. Like, how are you possibly going to make
like
it out of this
nothing,
round,
dude.
right?
Yeah.
Then you look at my guys, like I'm like they're all healthy. It's all about health.
Yeah.
If you make it to this point and you have a healthy team, here's another team. It's Lamar, Baker Mayfield. So it's like, okay, Lamar's not playing, and Baker Mayfield,
Dude, he's the Rams' hope, brother.
So yeah, I mean, and then I'll just do one more example just for completeness. Russell Wilson, Zach Wilson is this guy's quarterbacks. Okay.
Yeah,
and
yuck.
Jonathan Taylor, Chase Edmonds, Josh Jacobs, Rashad White, Jamal Williams. So like this guy's got a good running back core, but like it doesn't matter how good your core is if you can't fill the positions, right? So the quarterback position is like a big deal. And so a lot of these guys have quarterbacks that were good. A lot of like half of them are Lamar or Josh Allen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if
'Cause
these
they're
guys don't have good,
yeah.
if they don't have good, if these guys, if their quarterbacks don't have good
they're
week,
done, dude.
yeah, like I've been riding my season off the coattail of like Tyreek, Amon Ra, like
Sure.
then D-Hop
Tua.
came out, you know, Dallas Goedert was good, but Hayden Hurst picked up right when Goddard got hurt, and then Pacheco came on whenever Chubb or Taylor were having bad weeks, you know. Khalil Herbert was there for a couple weeks, and then like Herbert and Tua, right? So like my team was just like averaging consistent, but had the boom possibility, like, and so. I'm just, it's all about this 1 week though. Now it's just a 1 week season, so I'm just crossing my fingers. I think it's got a chance, but
it does, especially Dallas Goedert's coming back. Hayden Hurst got hurt, which sucks. He got hurt at the game that I went to. Goddard's coming back, so that'll actually put you up some points. Like, I don't know. What do you get the boys 5%? You know,
if I get $1 million bucks,
yeah, dude.
If I get $1 million bucks, we'll see.
Got some student
I gotta win.
brother.
There's 10 teams. Got to make it through this round, and the next round is 16 teams.
Okay.
16 people on a team, and then after that, it's the last 160, and you're talking thousands. Like the top 10 is like hundreds of thousands into millions. First place is like 2 million, so 3 million.
Jesus
we'll
Christ,
see.
Dude.
This is what I'm looking forward to now because I'm not in the playoffs in any league.
Well, next year you'll be there. It looks good to me. I wish you luck, dude. I hope it works out.
Yeah, but that was it. I just wanted to show you guys that because
Yeah,
that
you're
was fun.
awesome. We get it. We get it. You are good at football. You know a thing or two. It's fine.
One out of 8. I'm very good at what I do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's fine. Everybody gets lucky. So,
Yeah, exactly.
no, dude, I think that looks good. I know that we talked about underdog before football started, and I know I didn't get a chance to jump in on it, but I will be next year. So,
Yeah.
I got nothing else. I think we made 2 hours and 13 minutes. So I appreciate everybody for sticking around and listening, and you guys for sitting here talking with me. We will get this smoothed out. We'll probably go a little bit more in depth for the draft one too, but not 2 hours.
If we're not all getting together this year, then I say we try it live. Send them a link,
I like
and
it.
then we just go for it.
Yeah.
Then just I don't know. Like it could be like you and like one other person, and then whoever's pick is up there. So there's always 3 people. Cycle through that way.
I like it.
Or maybe the next pick and the current pick are always up.
Mm-hmm.
And then just like you can always be up there, whatever the case may be. So that way there's always people who are on the button, are up in conversations.
I like it, dude. I'm down. I think that we can make it work. And we don't even have to use the platform. We can use Discord, or we can use whatever, and just you tell me when you want your pick. We'll give you 15 minutes like the regular draft. You tell me what your pick is, and I can slot the picks in later. Like I can with commission controls, I can do that. So
make it like the NFL draft. If you don't turn your pick in, it keeps the other people can come in.
I like it, dude. I like it a lot. So we'll get everybody on board with that and have a good draft. So we'll talk before that, or maybe after. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll text and figure out what people want to do and see how it's received. I'm sure Fear will chirp me and be like, "Wow, you guys, you're a shitty commissioner. You're a shitty moderator. You're a shitty podcast host. Whatever. I'm a shitty person in general. Collusion everywhere, and just." It's fine. I get it. I embrace it. I embrace the suck. So, guys, thanks a lot. I really appreciate you doing this with me. I hope that everybody enjoys it. And with that, we'll hang up. I'll stop recording. And, catch you guys soon.
See ya.
See you soon.
All right. Bye.